Chapter 870. Is Sang Sang celebrating her birthday here? The man who appeared at the door of the private room was in his 20s. He was tall and handsome, and there was a faint smile on his face. He gave off a warm and sunny feeling, making people feel good about him. Yang Hairong, Xia Sang, and the other people in the room were all very familiar with this face. Lu Chen. Tonight, Xia Sang's 18th birthday party was mainly attended by her classmates, friends, and netizens. Needless to say, the members of Lu Chen's fan club were all hardcore fans of Lu Chen. Xia Sang's friends and classmates were also Lu Chen's fans. Although they didn't know each other before, they had a lot of common topics to talk about. However, no one had expected that Lu Chen would show up here. It was an incredible miracle. Yang Hairong was the one who knew the inside story. She was the one who contacted Chen Fei Media to give Xia Sang a surprise, but she didn't expect the surprise to be so huge. For a moment, time in the private room seemed to freeze. Only the screen of the laptop on the coffee table was still filled with comments in the live broadcast room. Huh? Is it stuck? Why is there no sound? What happened? Why does Sang Sang look like she saw a ghost? I'm curious too. Why isn't she cutting the cake? Hey, hey, hey! The next moment, there was a sudden scream. Xia Sang dropped the knife and jumped up from the sofa. She rushed to Lu Chen who was standing at the door. Then she hugged Lu Chen. If this is a dream, then let me have a good one. Lu Chen was startled. He smiled and patted the girl on the shoulder. Tonight, he had come to Hygiene to give a birthday present to a fan. His company had arranged for him to do so. He had always valued the management and care of his fans, so he did not reject it. Although the smiling, the proud wanderer was still in the middle of filming, it was not a problem to take a day or two off. He had returned to the capital from Dengfeng last night, attended an important business event in the morning, and then came to Hygiene from the capital in the afternoon. Lu Chen knew that she was a hardcore fan of Sang Sang, and had even seen her cover a few of his folk songs. Xia Sang buried her head in Lu Chen's arms and murmured, "I'm not dreaming, am I?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "I'm not dreaming. Are you Sang Sang?" At this moment, Xia Sang finally came to her senses. She blushed and let go of Lu Chen, nodding her head vigorously. Lu Chen handed the letter to Xia Sang. "Happy birthday." Xia Sang took the flowers in a daze. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Aren't you going to invite me in?" "Ah." Xia Sang seemed to wake up from a dream. She said helplessly, "Please come in, please come in." Lu Chen smiled and turned to look at Yang Hairong, who was still in a state of shock. He said, "You must be Yang Hairong, the leader of the Hygiene fan club. I've seen you before." Lu Chen had seen many leaders of fan clubs from all over the world at the last fan meet and greet, so he had an impression of them. Yang Hairong blushed with excitement. "Hello, brother Lu Chen. I didn't expect you to come." Lu Chen walked into the private room and looked at the uncut cake on the coffee table. He smiled and said, "Looks like I'm not too late. I'm just in time to get the cake." The girls in the private room finally came back to their senses. Some of them were very excited. Some of them raised their phones to take pictures, while others took things out of their bags to ask for autographs. It was undoubtedly a lifetime memory for them to be so close to a real superstar. At Xia Sang's invitation, Lu Chen sat down on the sofa and faced the selfie camera. The Hygiene fan club's live broadcast room exploded. This was a public live broadcast room of the 7 main groups. Since Yang Hairong was the host of the live broadcast, and the star of the live broadcast was Sang Sang, who was quite famous among the fan club, there were more than 3,000 to 4,000 fans celebrating Xia Sang's birthday online. These passionate fans also received a great surprise. "Holy sh*t, is this for real? No way, are my eyes playing tricks on me? Why do I see Lu Chen here? Lu Chen is attending Sang Sang's birthday party. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Holy sh*t, can someone tell me which KTV Sang Sang is at tonight? I'll take a taxi there right now. Oh my god, Lu Chen was familiar with live webcasting. Seeing this, he waved at the mobile phone camera. Hello, everyone. Wow. The live broadcast room went crazy. It's really me, Chen. I'm not dreaming. Sang Sang is so happy. I'm celebrating my birthday too. It's tomorrow. I feel like I've hit the jackpot. Sang Sang, sing a song with Lu Chen. It must be very good. Sing, sing. While the private room and the live broadcast room were in an uproar, another party was going on in Maikaya bar more than 10 kilometers away. Zhao Qianqian sat on the leather sofa, holding a cocktail in her hand. She looked at the crowded dance floor in front of her with a smile. The colorful lights shone on her face, giving her a devilish beauty. On both sides of her, more than a dozen people of her age were chatting and drinking. The girl sitting next to Zhao Qianqian chuckled. Qianqian, what do you think Xia Sang is like now? I saw her almost crying in the afternoon. Zhao Qianqian's smile widened. She waved her hand and pretended not to care. Don't worry about her. Let's enjoy ourselves. As long as everyone is happy. What she hated the most was others stealing her limelight. Who let Xia Sang touch her bad luck? Ah! No way. At this moment, several girls who were playing with their mobile phones suddenly screamed as if they had seen a ghost. Zhao Qianqian frowned and asked, "What's wrong?" The girls looked at each other. One of them hesitated and said, "Take a look at the grade group." Zhao Qianqian suddenly had a very bad feeling. She picked up her mobile phone and opened QQ and clicked into the grade group. Other students, out of curiosity, also used their mobile phones to log into the grade group. Then everyone was dumbfounded. In the grade group, someone was crazily sending photos and short videos. The protagonists of these photos and videos were Lu Chen and Xia Sang from grade 12, 4, class. Tonight, Lu Chen actually appeared at Xia Sang's birthday party. The two sat together intimately and cut the cake together. Seeing these photos, Zhao Qianqian felt as if she had been slapped in the face a few times. It was a burning pain. Chapter 871. For the 18-year-old Xia Sang, tonight's birthday party was undoubtedly a dream. She met her favorite and idol, Lu Chen, received a gift from Lu Chen himself, cut the birthday cake with Lu Chen, and sang a song with Lu Chen in front of thousands of netizens. There were originally 3,000 or 4,000 people watching the birthday party in the QQ group of Hygiene Lu Chen's fan club. When everyone found out that Lu Chen was there in person, the news quickly spread to all the fan groups, and a large number of fans swarmed to the party. As the heroine of tonight, Xia Sang not only received countless blessings, but also countless envy and jealousy. Not only that, she also appeared on the entertainment section of major media with Lu Chen the next day, and was called the luckiest and happiest fan. Xia Sang didn't think that such a title was the slightest exaggeration. After fulfilling the dream of a die-hard fan and leaving an interesting story, Lu Chen returned to Dengfeng to continue the filming of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer. Time flowed like water, and in the blink of an eye, it was the end of December. The filming of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer had been going on for more than a month. In this more than a month, because of the existence of the crew, it had a great impact on the local area of Dengfeng. First was the Shaolin Temple. After the official establishment of Shaolin Temple Industrial Development Company, Limited, the first batch of 100 million funds of Qinfei Media was immediately put in place, and the renovation and expansion of the Shaolin Temple was quickly put on the agenda. The Shaolin Temple was a provincial-level cultural relic protection unit, and the renovation and expansion of a cultural protection unit was not so easy. Funds alone were not enough, and it must be approved by the higher authorities. Fortunately, the support from the government of Dengfeng was great, and there was no need for state investment, and the Shaolin Temple really did need to be repaired and maintained, so the relevant approval documents were quickly implemented. After getting the approval documents, Shaolin Industrial Company immediately carried out the project bidding, and invited qualified domestic ancient construction companies to come to bid, and then the project began vigorously. The Shaolin Temple was closed for 3 months. On the one hand, it was for the renovation and expansion. On the other hand, it was to cooperate with the filming of The Smiling, Proud Martial World. Otherwise, there would be a lot of troubles in the management due to the disturbance of tourists. Today's Shaolin Temple was very different. The area of the temple had expanded by 2/3, and a new site had been opened up for the construction of the Shaolin Temple Martial Arts Research Center and Shaolin Dojo. According to the plan, the renovation and expansion project will last for 2 years, but the first phase of the project will be completed before the Spring Festival next year. During the Spring Festival, the temple will officially open to guests, so that the people of the country can see the glory of the Shaolin Temple. The current Shaolin Temple was different from the past. Its popularity was at least 10 times higher than before. The number of fans of the Shaolin Temple's official V on Waves had exceeded the 1 million mark. The crew of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer would release stills from time to time, including many scenes of the Shaolin Temple and Lu Chen in the Shaolin Temple. In addition, Lu Chen also revealed on his blog that after the filming of the Smiling, Proud Martial World trilogy, he was very likely to make a special movie for the Shaolin Temple. It was about the story of the Sui and Tang dynasties' 13 monks saving the Tang Emperor. It was through all kinds of publicity that the 1,000-year-old temple glowed with unprecedented vitality. Then, in the near future, it would become a shining symbol in Lu Chen's wuxia IP plan. And in this process, Lu Chen experienced the most important transformation in his life with the new Shaolin Temple. That was the evolution from an actor to a director. The entertainment industry was a big place. There were naturally different levels of people in the world, and directors, especially movie directors, were definitely standing at the top. When Lu Chen was still a singer and filmed his first music video, he had the idea of becoming a director in his heart. This idea became stronger when he was filming TV series such as Autumn in My Heart and Full House of Romance. By the time he made his first movie, A Chinese Ghost Story, he was already learning and preparing. To become a real director, a movie director, was not an easy task. A qualified movie director must first have professional knowledge, know how to grasp the entire artistic style of the movie, and have the skills to achieve the desired artistic effect of the movie. The director controlled the details and development process of the movie according to the movie script. He also had to guide the actors' performance, including setting the shooting positions and movements for the actors and helping them cultivate the actors' mood for the performance. In addition, the movie director had to organize and choose the film's shooting site, and manage technical aspects such as camera placement, lighting, set layout, soundtrack content, timing, and so on. In the entertainment industry, many celebrities had experience as directors. There were even some famous writers who had mixed into the industry to film their own works. However, most of these directors were just playing around. They did not need to master so many skills or manage so much work. They could just hand over the main work to the producers, assistant directors, and cameramen. They just needed to put on a name to raise their stature. What Lu Chen wanted to be was not this kind of nominal director. Even if the other road was very difficult, full of risks and thorns, he had no regrets. Since the beginning of Autumn in My Heart, he had been learning. He squeezed out time from his busy work to absorb knowledge, and worked hard in the direction he wanted. Lu Chen did not become a director to raise his status, but he hoped that through his own efforts, he could realize the dream that the other three had never realized in the dream world. To make a movie that truly belonged to him. Now Lu Chen was no longer satisfied with obtaining achievements and glory with the help of the memory in the dream world. He wanted to win the applause of everyone through his own efforts. Fortunately, Lu Chen had a foundation that was far beyond ordinary people. The first song of The Smiling, The Proud Wanderer, Sword of Mount Hua, invited the famous director Chen Guozhi. Under the careful guidance of this senior master, he accumulated his skills in directing little by little. The second song of The Smiling, The Proud Wanderer, Invincible East, was Lu Chen's test work after his success. From the initial jerkiness to the gradual familiarity, from uneasiness to calmness, Lu Chen's road as a director was getting smoother and smoother. But for many of Lu Chen's fans, they were not looking forward to Lu Chen's first movie, but Lu Chen's third album that would be released on January 1, 2019. The name of this album was Lu Chen. Chapter 872. December 27, Binhai, Jingsheng District. The winter night came very early. It was already dark before 6 o'clock. The lights were on in the Lu family's dining room. Fang Yun was sitting at the table eating dinner. The dinner was very simple. A plate of stir-fried vegetables, a plate of steamed small yellow croaker, and a bowl of seaweed soup were all. Fang Yun looked lonely under the light. Of her 3 children, Lu Shi was far away in Beijing, busy all day long. Lu Chen was filming a movie, and Lu Shui was studying at Jianghai University, so she couldn't accompany her. In fact, both Lu Shi and Lu Chen were very happy that Fang Yun could move to Beijing, because both of their careers were in Beijing, and in the foreseeable future, they would also live in Beijing. But Fang Yun didn't want to leave Binhai, because she had long been used to everything in Binhai, her work in Binhai, her relatives, her colleagues, and her friends, so sometimes she was lonely and missed her children. Fang Yun didn't feel regretful, and she wouldn't call Lu Chen and Lu Shi, because she knew that both of them were very busy. Some people advised her to find another partner, and even introduced her. They were all very good partners, but Fang Yun didn't think about it at all. What she hoped most now was that Lu Shi and Lu Chen could get married and have children as soon as possible, so that she could retire and take care of the next generation of the Lu family. Unfortunately, it seemed that this wish couldn't be realized in a short time. Thinking of this, Fang Yun couldn't help but sigh. Ding dong, at this time, the doorbell rang. Who was it? Fang Yun put down the bowl and chopsticks and went to open the door, thinking that it should be someone from the property management who was looking for her. Since Lu Chen became famous, the family moved back to Jingsheng District, and more people came to visit. There are relatives and friends, colleagues and leaders, media reporters, and some people who have nothing to do with each other. For a while, Fang Yun was quite upset. Later, after filtering visitors through the property security personnel, it finally calmed down. When the door opened, the person standing at the door was not the property management staff, but Lu Chen, who was carrying a suitcase, carrying a backpack, and wearing sunglasses. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Mom, I'm back." After that, he gave Fang Yun a big hug. Fang Yun was stunned for a moment before she came to her senses. She clenched her fist and hit him on the shoulder a few times. "You child, why didn't you tell me you were coming back?" Lu Chen let go of his hand and said with a smile, "This is a surprise for you." As he spoke, he walked into the living room, put his suitcase aside, took off his backpack, and threw it on the sofa. At the same time, Lu Chen himself was also thrown on the sofa. Looking at Lu Chen's paralyzed, lazy appearance on the sofa, Fang Yun was angry and funny at the same time. She said angrily, "It's shocking enough, but I don't know why I'm happy. Where's Fei, Compared with her own son, she preferred her future daughter-in-law." Lu Chen buried his head in the soft cushion and said, "I came back alone." She went back to the capital. This time, Lu Chen returned to Zhejiang province mainly for 2 things. The first thing was to participate in the centennial celebration of Binhai Middle School. Lu Chen was an alumnus of Binhai Middle School. He spent a good time in this National Key Middle School, and now he was also a golden signboard of Binhai Middle School. This school's centennial celebration, the school invited him to participate through various channels, including a call from his former class teacher. It was difficult to refuse the kindness of his teacher, so Lu Chen was bound to come back to participate in the school anniversary. The second thing was the New Year's concert of Zhejiang Satellite TV Station. The trend of local satellite TV stations holding New Year's concert was brought by Shonan TV. On the evening of December 31st every year, they invited all kinds of stars to sing on the big stage. They could make a lot of money by selling tickets, not to mention the advertising fees of the live broadcast. Under the leadership of Shonan TV, all the powerful satellite TV stations followed suit. Last year, a total of 5 satellite TV stations held New Year's concert, resulting in a situation where there were not enough big singers. This year, there were as many as 7. It was almost to the point of breaking heads and bleeding. At that time, the remote control in the hands of the audience all over the country would be hot. It would be too late to change the channel. As the most popular star in the circle, Lu Chen received invitations from Beijing Television, Shonan TV, Zhejiang Satellite TV and Shanghai Satellite TV at the beginning of the year, hoping that he could participate in the New Year's concert of several satellite TV stations. As for the conditions, it was up to Lu Chen to set them. However, Lu Chen didn't have the ability to split himself, so he could only choose one. Among them, the fiercest competition for him was Beijing Television and Zhejiang Satellite TV. The advantages of these 2 satellite TV stations were also the greatest. Anyway, after a battle, Lu Chen agreed to the invitation of Zhejiang Satellite TV, and as a condition, Chen Fei-er stayed in Beijing to support Beijing Television, which could be regarded as taking care of both sides. It was just that in this way, the 2 of them couldn't spend the New Year's Eve 2019 together, and the sacrifice was quite big. But for Lu Chen, the most important thing was to go home and have a look. Over the past year, Lu Chen rarely went home, and after Lu Shui went to college, Fang Yun was the only one left in his hometown in Binhai. Sometimes when he thought about it, he felt guilty. So taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Chen deliberately went home a few days earlier, just to stay at home with his mother. Fang Yun closed the door and asked in surprise, "You came back alone? Didn't you bring an assistant or something?" Lu Chen replied vaguely, "No, I asked them to wait for me in Hangzhou. I will go to Hangzhou on the 31st, and accompany you at home these days." Fang Yun complained, "What do I have to accompany? You are so busy with work. Spend more time with Fei-er." Although that was what she said, she was still very happy in her heart. She sat on the sofa and chattered. She even forgot to eat. After a few minutes, Fang Yun remembered, "Oh, you haven't had dinner yet, have you? I'll go cook a few more dishes." At this moment, Fang Yun found that Lu Chen was lying on the sofa and had fallen asleep. He had driven all the way from Mount Dengfeng. Although he had taken the highway, he had driven for thousands of kilometers by himself. When he got home, he was already very tired. Like a tired bird returning to its warm nest, Lu Chen, who was home, completely relaxed. When he fell on the sofa, he felt sleepy. Listening to his mother's nagging, he only felt happy in his heart, and then the sleepiness hit him silently, and he couldn't stop it. Looking at Lu Chen, who was sleeping like a child, Fang Yun's eyes were full of love and love. She took off Lu Chen's shoes and quietly found a blanket to cover him, so that he could sleep more comfortably and warmly. No matter where he was, this would always be Lu Chen's home. Chapter 873. As soon as Lu Chen woke up, he smelled the aroma of food. He turned over and sat up on the sofa. He rubbed his sleepy eyes and saw that his mother had just brought a dish out of the kitchen. It was steaming hot and smoking. Lu Chen asked in surprise, "Mom, what time is it now?" He slept soundly. He felt that he had slept for a long time, but the light in the living room was on. It was still night. "You're awake," Fang Yun said with a smile. "I ran to the supermarket to buy some food. I thought that you might not have eaten dinner. When you wake up, you must be very hungry. It's just the right time to wake up." Lu Chen took out his mobile phone and looked at it. It was already more than 10 o'clock in the evening. He had slept for 3 hours. He couldn't help but feel warm in his heart. "I'll take a shower first." He quickly ran into the bathroom to take a shower. When he came out after taking a shower, the dishes and chopsticks on the table were neatly arranged. The dishes in front of him had also been reheated. Lu Chen didn't hesitate. He picked up the bowl and chopsticks and ate quickly. It was still a familiar taste. Although it couldn't be said that the dishes cooked by his mother were the most delicious in the world, this kind of taste that belonged to home could never be eaten outside. For this late dinner, Lu Chen ate 3 bowls of rice and basically wiped out several dishes. "Don't eat too much," Fang Yun looked distressed and asked, is the food in the crew very bad? Looking at Lu Chen's appearance, it seemed that he hadn't eaten for 3 days and 3 nights. His mother naturally cared about him. Lu Chen burped, touched his bulging belly, and said, "It's not that. It's mainly because the dishes you cook are delicious." "That sounds even better than a song," Fang Yun smiled and said, "You only know how to make me happy. By the way, the school anniversary is on the 29th, right?" In order to ensure that Lu Chen could attend the 100th anniversary of Binhai Middle School, the principal had put in a lot of effort. Not only had he asked Lu Chen's former class teacher to call him, but he had also invited Fang Yun. Fang Yun and Principal Ouyang of Binhai Middle School knew each other, so she couldn't forget their relationship. Lu Chen nodded and said, "I'll attend the school anniversary on the 29th. I'll go to Hangzhou on the 30th, Mom, ask for a leave tomorrow. I'll accompany you to the mall to buy some clothes." "Clothes?" Fang Yun was stunned. "I have a lot of clothes. You don't have to buy them. If you want to buy them, I'll go with you." Lu Chen said helplessly, "Just let your son be filial, or else my sister will say something." Although they used to be a rich family, since the Lu family declined, in order to pay off the huge debts owed by the family, Fang Yun was very frugal. She wore a few clothes all year round. Now, of course, she was not short of money, but Fang Yun's thrifty habits still remained. She always bought cheap clothes. Although Lu Chen and Lu Shi had told her several times, she never changed. Moreover, she resolutely refused to let the 2 children buy her famous brands, saying that they should save money and spend more on their careers. In fact, whether it was Lu Chen or Lu Shi, they were not short of money. So when he went home this time, Lu Chen decided to buy some new clothes for his mother, at least enough to fill a wardrobe. Fang Yun rolled her eyes at him. "Are you afraid that your mother will lose face?" Lu Chen smiled bitterly. "No," Fang Yun drove him away. Go, 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 go. Go upstairs and rest. I'll clean up here. We'll talk about tomorrow's things tomorrow." Lu Chen smiled and went upstairs to rest. The next day, Fang Yun did not ask for leave because there was still a lot of work to be done. According to her, there was no need to drag the work that could be done today to tomorrow and cause trouble for others. However, she got up early and went to the market to buy a bunch of fresh ingredients. At noon, she specially came back to cook for Lu Chen. Originally, she planned to have dinner at home, but under Lu Chen's insistence, they went to Binhai Wanhao City for dinner and shopping. Wanhao City just entered Binhai last year. It was currently the largest and highest-grade comprehensive shopping mall in Binhai, with a large number of international brands gathered in the mall. Wanhao City was the most important brand of the Wanhao Group, and Wanhao Pictures, which was a direct competitor of Chen Fei Media, was a subsidiary of the Wanhao Group. Of course, Lu Chen bringing his mother to Wanhao City was definitely not seen as an act of supporting the enemy. Wanhao City was located on the east side of the most prosperous People's Square in Binhai City. It used to be a state-owned factory in Binhai City. After the land was demolished, it set a new record for commercial land in Binhai City. It also forcibly pulled up the surrounding housing prices. Speaking of which, ever since Lu Chen was admitted to university, he spent less and less time in Binhai City. He could come back during the winter and summer vacations when he was in university. After he went to Beijing to work and entered the entertainment industry, the number of times he returned to Binhai City in a year could be counted on one hand. In the past few years, the appearance of Binhai City had changed a lot. For example, many buildings around People's Square had been demolished and rebuilt. Rows of modern skyscrapers were built. The night lights of the buildings and the large billboards reflected each other, making Lu Chen feel a little unfamiliar with the city that raised him. After eating dinner at a restaurant in Wanhao City, Lu Chen brought his mother to the mall inside. He wore a set of casual clothes today. In order to avoid trouble, he also wore a pair of large sunglasses. However, his tall and straight figure and the sharp outline of his face couldn't be covered. He still looked very handsome. Noticing the strange gazes that people frequently cast at them, Fang Yun held Lu Chen's arm even tighter. Although she knew that some people must have misunderstood, she didn't care. Instead, her heart was full of pride. My son is handsome. Even if he covers his face with sunglasses, he's still handsome. Go ahead and be jealous. Fang Yun. At this time, a surprised voice suddenly came from the side. You're also shopping at the mall? Lu Chen and Fang Yun turned their heads and saw that a few steps away, a very rich middle-aged woman was looking at them with her eyes wide open. She was followed by a man in his 50s and a young woman in her 20s. It was obviously a family of 3. Fang Yun smiled and said, Sister Zhang, what a coincidence. Your family is also shopping at the mall. The middle-aged woman nodded and looked straight at Lu Chen. It is a coincidence. This is. Her eyes were a little strange. Fang Yun was a real beauty when she was young. Although she was almost 50 years old now, her charm and temperament were still very outstanding. After her husband passed away, someone in the unit tried to matchmake for her. Sister Zhang was one of them, but no matter who was the matchmaker, Fang Yun firmly refused. Now seeing Fang Yun holding a handsome man's arm and shopping at the mall, Sister Zhang suddenly felt like she had caught an adulterer in bed and discovered a new continent. The current Fang Yun was not as down and out as a few years ago. Everyone knew that she was very rich. Chapter 874. Sister Zhang, plus her husband and daughter, the eyes of the 3 people were all focused on Lu Chen. There was disdain in their eyes, and curiosity. Fang Yun smiled faintly and said proudly, This is my son, Lu Chen. Lu Chen, this is your Aunt Zhang. Lu Chen took off his sunglasses and said to Sister Zhang with a smile, Hello, Aunt Zhang. As he said that, he nodded to Sister Zhang's husband and daughter. Sister Zhang's daughter was suddenly dumbfounded. Her eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and she was directly petrified. Hello, Sister Zhang was completely dumbfounded. She didn't expect that this tall and handsome man was actually Fang Yun's son, instead of what she was imagining. She couldn't help but feel a burning pain on her face. Sister Zhang and Fang Yun's relationship in the unit was ordinary, and they didn't have much contact before. This was the first time she saw Lu Chen. Under the shame, she forgot what others had told her about what kind of person Fang Yun's son was. Lu Chen put on his sunglasses again. There were people coming and going in the shopping mall. If he was recognized by passers-by, then the plan to accompany his mother to buy clothes in the evening would be ruined. Fang Yun also didn't want to be disturbed by others to spend time with Lu Chen. She said to Sister Zhang, who was in a daze, Sister Zhang, I have something to do with little Chen. Let's talk when we have time. Sister Zhang replied subconsciously, Okay. Fang Yun smiled sweetly and left with Lu Chen. Sister Zhang was stunned for a moment until her daughter tightly grabbed her arm, and very hard. Under the pain, she woke up and turned to look at her daughter angrily. What are you doing? Sister Zhang's daughter looked at the direction in which Fang Yun and Lu Chen left. Like a cat that wanted to eat dried fish but couldn't eat it, she called out in a hoarse voice, Lu Chen, he is Lu Chen. Sister Zhang stared at her daughter. What's wrong with Lu Chen? She still couldn't remember. She just felt embarrassed just now. Sister Zhang's daughter was in despair. Oh my God, why didn't you tell me? It's Lu Chen. His words were incoherent. This small interlude did not affect Lu Chen's interest in shopping with his mother. After walking around for a while, the two of them stepped into the Dior store. Dior was one of the most famous fashion brands in France. It was also the world's largest high-end fashion brand holding company. It mainly dealt in women's clothing, men's clothing, jewelry, perfume, cosmetics, children's clothing, and other high-end consumer goods. It also enjoyed a high reputation in China. This Dior shop was very large, and the decoration style was not ordinary. The main color of black and white was Dior's style. Due to its high-end positioning, there were not many customers in the shop. Seeing Lu Chen and Fang Yun come in, a shop assistant immediately greeted them with a smile. Welcome to Dior's Binhai flagship store. How can I help you? The shop assistants who worked in such a big brand store usually had rich sales experience and had been specially trained. Their eyes were very sharp, and they could basically tell that those customers were just watching the fun. Those were real customers. Although their service attitude was impeccable for different customers, and they would never look down on others, the enthusiasm in their eyes was undoubtedly more sincere for the latter. In the eyes of the shop assistant, although Fang Yun's clothes were relatively ordinary, her temperament was not comparable to ordinary people. Needless to say, Lu Chen was wearing an Armani casual suit, low-key and introverted. He was a person of taste and money. Although Fang Yun had been very thrifty in the past few years, and many habits had not been changed until now, the Lu family was also considered to be a rich family in the past. Stepping into a brand store would definitely not make her nervous. Fang Yun smiled slightly reservedly and said, "Let's take a look first." The smile on the shop assistant's face became more and more warm. "Please feel free. The winter clothes in our store are all the latest in Paris. There will be spring clothes on sale next month." She followed Fang Yun step by step, but kept a polite distance. Fang Yun let go of Lu Chen's arm and said to him, "I'll choose myself. You take a rest." Of course, Lu Chen had no objection and sat down on the sofa in the store. Not long after he sat down, another shop assistant brought a cup of hot tea. "Please have some tea." "Thank you." Lu Chen took the disposable teacup, and suddenly his eyes narrowed. Xiao Lirong. The shop assistant was in her 20s, about 1.7 meters tall, with an oval face and willow eyebrows. When she smiled, there was a shallow dimple on her left cheek. She was a sweet and beautiful girl. "Ah!" The shop assistant was stunned. "You are..." In her memory, there was no such tall and handsome man wearing sunglasses. Lu Chen stood up, took off his sunglasses and said with a smile, "Old classmate, have you forgotten me?" Xiao Lirong was stunned. "You are Lu Chen." Lu Chen smiled and said, "That's me. What a coincidence today. How have you been recently?" Xiao Lirong was his high school classmate. The two of them sat in front and behind each other. Their relationship was not bad. Of course, there was no melodramatic love story. At that time, Lu Chen already had a girlfriend. Since Lu Chen was admitted to Jianghai University, the two of them had broken off contact. They hadn't seen each other for 7 or 8 years. They didn't expect to meet each other in the Dior store today. When Lu Chen saw Xiao Lirong, it was the joy of seeing an old classmate that he hadn't seen for many years. And when Xiao Lirong recognized Lu Chen, it was more like winning a 5 million prize. The current Lu Chen was the pride of Binhai Middle School. In her class group, the topic that everyone talked about the most was Lu Chen. Who would have thought that Lu Chen would become a real big star? Although Lu Chen's QQ number was also in this class group, it had never been online. Many students contacted him, but he didn't respond. It was inferred that he had changed his number and abandoned it. She didn't expect to meet Lu Chen here. "It's really you." After being stunned for a long time, Xiao Lirong came back to her senses. She didn't know what to say. In any case, her heart was in a mess. I'm fine. When did you return to Binhai?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "I came back yesterday." "How are the other students? Do you usually contact them?" On one side, Lu Chen and Xiao Lirong were stunned. The other shop assistants were all stunned. Lu Chen, it turned out to be Lu Chen. They couldn't even believe their eyes. A real superstar had casually walked in without any bodyguards or assistants by his side, and warmly chatted with one of them about daily life. Is this real? If it weren't for the strict professional training and store rules, these shop assistants would have all gathered around to see what was going on. Nevertheless, everyone's eyes were focused on Lu Chen. So, big stars are like this, more handsome than on TV. Chapter 875. Lu Chen has long been accustomed to all kinds of gazes from around him. At this moment, his heart was more surprised to meet an old classmate. Although his relationship with Xiao Lirong was ordinary in high school, seeing her reminded him of the time when they were classmates. Lu Chen's peaceful and kind inquiry gradually calmed Xiao Lirong's shocked mood. She felt that the handsome man in front of her gradually overlapped with the big boy in the back seat in her memory. She swallowed her saliva and said, "Everyone is very good. We often chat in the QQ group, but many classmates have also broken off contact. I heard that they have gone abroad, and some are working in other places." As she spoke, Xiao Lirong relaxed and said half jokingly and half seriously, "But no one can compare to you, a big star. Everyone is very proud when they talk about it in the group. Sometimes I tell others that Lu Chen is my classmate, but they don't believe it." She pursed her lips and said with a smile, "Now it's good. Hurry up and take a photo with me. Next time, they will envy me to death." Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. "How is one enough? At least 2 photos. My previous QQ number is no longer used. You can add my new number so that it will be easier to contact in the future." He opened the QQ on his mobile phone and clicked on his ID QR code for Xiao Lirong to scan. This QQ ID was Lu Chen's private account. He only added a few relatives and friends in the circle. He didn't use it much, and his previous number had long been abandoned. Xiao Lirong was overjoyed and immediately added Lu Chen's new QQ number. "Ah, your number is really good." Lu Chen said with a smile, "I have a cooperation with QQ, and the other party sent me a beautiful number." Only then did Xiao Lirong remember that Lu Chen was a big star. She couldn't help but ask, "Are you coming back this time to participate in the school's centennial celebration?" Lu Chen nodded, "Yes." Xiao Lirong hesitated and said, "This time, the old monitor also came back to participate in the school anniversary. She organized a class reunion tomorrow night in the group. Do you want to come?" She knew that a star like Lu Chen must be very busy, and as a guest of the centennial celebration, he may not be free tomorrow night, so she just asked in case. "Monitor is back too?" Lu Chen was surprised. "That's quite rare. Count me in, but I don't think I'll be playing for long. Just tell me the location." Old Monitor was the class monitor of his high school class. Because her surname was Ban and she was the class monitor, plus she was very popular in the class, everyone called her Old Monitor. In fact, Old Monitor was not old at all. She was a real fair, rich and beautiful lady. After graduating from high school, she went directly to England to study at a university. "That's great." Xiao Lirong beamed with joy and quickly sent the address of the gathering to Lu Chen. "I'll inform everyone." "No." Lu Chen stopped him and said, "Don't tell me yet. I don't know if he can come. I'll contact you when the time comes." He wasn't sure if he would be free tomorrow night, so it was better to be cautious. Otherwise, if Xiao Lirong went out and he couldn't come, it wouldn't be good. Xiao Lirong understood. "Okay." At this time, Fang Yun came out of the fitting room and saw Lu Chen talking and laughing with a shop assistant, so she walked over curiously. "Little Chen." When Lu Chen saw his mother, he introduced her. "I met an old classmate, Xiao Lirong. Do you remember her?" Xiao Lirong greeted a little shyly, "Hello, Auntie." "Hello." Fang Yun looked at her carefully and smiled. "I still remember. I've seen her a few times. Now she has grown into a beautiful girl. If you didn't say it, I really wouldn't have recognized you. Are you married?" Xiao Lirong was even more embarrassed. Lu Chen helped her out. "It just so happens that Xiao Lirong works in this store. Recommend some clothes for my mother." Xiao Lirong hurriedly took Fang Yun to see clothes. As a result, as soon as Lu Chen sat down, a shop assistant immediately came over and asked with a red face, "Teacher Lu Chen, I am your fan. Can I have an autograph?" Lu Chen saw the words store manager printed on her chest tag and smiled. "No problem." With the store manager taking the lead, several other shop assistants gathered around one after another. Those who wanted an autograph and those who wanted a group photo, Lu Chen satisfied their wishes one by one. In return, he asked the shop assistants to keep quiet so that his mother could shop here. Fortunately, there were no other customers in the store. Otherwise, the Dior store would be surrounded by people. The shop assistants also knew the seriousness of the matter, so no one made a loud noise. In the end, Fang Yun bought 2 sets of clothes and a bag in the store. The store manager gave her a 10% discount. After Lu Chen swiped his card and paid the bill, he said goodbye to Xiao Lirong and left. However, as soon as the two of them left, many people came to the Dior store. Because some shop assistants were so excited that they took photos with Fang Yun on their WeChat moments, the news spread like wildfire. Everyone came to see the big star. However, they were destined to be disappointed. The next morning, Lu Chen went alone to Binhai Middle School, where he studied in the past. Considering that it was inconvenient to park near the school, he did not drive his own car. Instead, he stopped a taxi at the entrance of the neighborhood. However, as soon as he arrived at the intersection of Shuefu Middle School, he found that the entire road was under traffic control. There were traffic police guarding the intersection. Only vehicles with special passes could enter and exit. Lu Chen did not care. After paying the taxi fare, he got out of the car and walked. Anyway, it was only a few hundred meters from here to the school gate. It would not take long to walk. Walking along the paved pavement, the locust trees along the road were as tall and lush as before. Lu Chen did not know how many times he had walked here in the past. He could still vaguely remember the fragrance of the locust flowers. From afar, he could hear the warm sound of ceremonial music. It was obvious that the welcoming ceremony had begun. However, Lu Chen was not in a hurry at all because there were many memories on this road, the laughter of running, the noise of playing, the heartbeat of holding hands for the first time, the young man who met his classmate. Now that the locust flowers did not bloom, the beautiful figure was gone, but the sweet, warm, and joyful memories remained in his heart. Suddenly, Lu Chen missed Chen Feier, who was far away in Beijing. He walked for a short distance of 200 to 300 meters for a full 10 minutes until he was awakened by a passing car. In front of him was Lu Chen's alma mater, Binhai Middle School. This was a national key middle school with a history of 100 years. A tall air arch stood at the entrance. Colorful banners hung from balloons fluttered in the wind. A long red carpet was laid from the entrance to the school. A large group of people gathered at the entrance. Among them, Lu Chen saw several school leaders that he knew. They were happily welcoming the guests and returning students who participated in the school anniversary. Chapter 876. A shiny black Bentley was parked steadily at the school gate. The uniformed driver opened the rear door. A middle-aged man got out of the car and stood at the beginning of the red carpet. Mr. Zhang. A school leader in charge of reception immediately greeted him and extended his hands to the man with a smile. Welcome back to your alma mater for the centennial celebration of Binhai Middle School. The middle-aged man shook hands with him and said with a smile, "It's my honor." Several reporters rushed out from the side and pressed the shutter of the two desperately. There were also cameramen shooting. 2 primary school students in the uniform of Binhai affiliated primary school came over and gave flowers to the middle-aged man. Zhang Longda was a well-known alumnus of Binhai Middle School. He was a well-known entrepreneur in Binhai and had founded a company with assets of more than 1 billion. It was reasonable for him to receive such a grand reception. Accompanied by the school leader, Zhang Longda stepped on the red carpet and walked toward the signature wall. Reporters followed and took photos along the way. Then, another Mercedes-Benz stopped. This scene made Lu Chen feel like he was holding a movie or music awards ceremony. It was more or less a little weird. But in the current environment, many schools often made a big deal of the celebration in order to increase their popularity and tried their best to invite famous alumni to participate. Those who could step on the red carpet were naturally the best. Lu Chen was among them. Originally, the school offered to provide a special car, but he declined. After thinking about it, Lu Chen did not join in the fun and went straight in from the side door. He had an invitation in hand, so naturally, he was unimpeded. Because he was wearing sunglasses, the staff in charge of the inspection did not recognize him. After a simple inspection, they waved their hands and let him go. The ceremony was held in the school's auditorium, but it was still early. Lu Chen was not in a hurry to get there. Instead, he walked around the campus. He had not been back for many years, but the appearance of Binhai Middle School had not changed much. The statue of the girl in the fountain was still there, the thick sycamore tree was still engraved with words, and the path to the laboratory building was still full of leaves. Today was Sunday, and there were very few students on campus. However, in the quiet corner, students could be seen studying diligently. The familiar scene reminded Lu Chen of bits and pieces of memories. Before he knew it, he had arrived at the third teaching block. He walked up the stairs and arrived at the classroom of Class 5 on the 4th floor. The classroom door was unlatched, and Lu Chen pushed it open and walked in. The classroom was quiet, and the desks were neatly arranged. There were no students around, except for a woman who was looking at the drawings on the blackboard. She was wearing a plain white dress. Her figure was slender and graceful, and her silky black hair fell over her shoulders. She turned around when she heard the door being pushed open. Lu Chen couldn't help but be stunned. Old monitor. This beautiful woman was the class monitor of Lu Chen's high school, Ban Beibei. Although they hadn't seen each other for 7 or 8 years and she had grown up and matured a lot, Lu Chen still recognized her at a glance. Ban Beibei furrowed her beautiful brows, revealing a puzzled expression. Lu Chen took off his sunglasses and said with a smile, "It's me. Lu Chen." Ban Beibei suddenly showed a surprised smile. "Why are you here?" Lu Chen walked over and said with a smile, "I calculated with my fingers and knew that you were here, so I came to find you." "Are you touched?" Ban Beibei smiled and said, "I'm really touched. You are a big star now. I often hear your name in the UK, and I know how famous you are." Lu Chen shook his head and said, "That's all empty. How are you in the UK?" It was natural to be surprised and sentimental when they reunited after a long time. The relationship between the two was very good. Ban Beibei's father and Lu Chen's father were business friends, and she had attended the funeral of Lu Chen's father. However, after graduating from high school, Ban Beibei's family emigrated to the UK, and she also went to college in the UK. Therefore, they lost contact, but the friendship between them did not fade with the passage of time. Ban Beibei studied in the UK and got a master's degree. Now she was working in a Fortune 500 company. This time, she received an invitation from the school, so she came back from the UK to attend the school anniversary. "I also want to see my old classmate. Xiao Lirong told me that she saw you last night." The two sat down to chat, and they were still sitting in the same seats, separated by an aisle. Ban Beibei's eyes were bright. "Are you coming to the class reunion tonight?" Lu Chen said, "If I have time, I will definitely come. I also want to see Fang Jian, Zhao Linqing, Li Yuan and the others." Ban Beibei teased, "I know you are a busy person now. You don't even use QQ." Lu Chen blushed with shame. "I changed my QQ number. Add me." After exchanging new QQ numbers, Ban Beibei asked intentionally or unintentionally, "Are you still in contact with Xiao Man?" Lu Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. "I haven't been in contact for a long time," Ban Beibei said as if she was talking to herself. "She is doing well now. She opened her own company in the deep sea, and I heard that it is doing well." Lu Chen listened silently, but his thoughts flew back to his youth many years ago. Gu Xiaoman was Ban Beibei's deskmate, and also Lu Chen's first girlfriend. Their relationship was quite sensational at Binhai Middle School at that time. Unfortunately, like most young love, this beautiful relationship did not come to fruition. Lu Chen still remembered that when he secretly went on a date with Gu Xiaoman, he asked Ban Beibei to help cover for him. Now that he thought about it, it was really a different feeling in his heart. Lu Chen did not have the idea of going back to his old love. His heart had been filled by Chen Fei, but the memory of his first love had long been engraved in his soul, and he could not forget it for the rest of his life. Now that he heard news about Gu Xiaoman and knew that she was doing well, it was enough. Lu Chen asked, "Old monitor, do you have a boyfriend in the UK?" Ban Bebe laughed, "No, I don't like British boys." "Why? Do you want to introduce me?" Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. "I really don't have anything to recommend." The two chatted and laughed, and talked about many things in the past until someone came to the classroom. "Hey, you guys." The person who came was in her 50s or 60s, with gray temples and an old face. Her clothes were very simple, but when they saw her, Lu Chen and Ban Bebe stood up together and said, "Teacher Kong." This was Lu Chen's former class teacher, and also the language teacher. Teacher Kong looked at the two of them in a daze, and after a moment, she suddenly showed a look of understanding. "Lu Chen, Ban Bebe." Lu Chen and Ban Bebe smiled at each other and greeted together, "Hello, Teacher Kong." At this moment, it was as if they had returned to the past. Chapter 877. Teacher Kong was very happy to see Lu Chen and Ban Bebe. At that time, there were 57 students in Class 5 of 98 in Binhai Middle School. Ban Bebe and Lu Chen were undoubtedly the two most outstanding students. Ban Bebe was the class monitor. Not only was she beautiful, but her academic performance was also excellent. Teacher Kong loved her as her own daughter. Ban Bebe worked hard and won honors for the class one after another. Later, she was admitted to a famous British university and studied for a master's degree. As for Lu Chen, needless to say, he was an influential figure in the school back then. Now, he has become a famous star in the country and the pride of Binhai Middle School. Now that the two of them returned to school together and appeared in the classroom where they had studied, how could Teacher Kong not be happy? Whether it was Lu Chen or Ban Bebe, they were also very respectful to Teacher Kong, especially Lu Chen. At that time, he was not a top student in school. Puppy love alone gave the teacher a headache, but Teacher Kong still gave him the greatest tolerance. Binhai Middle School was a key high school in the country. The school had a clear rule that students were not allowed to have puppy love. At that time, Lu Chen openly fell in love with Gu Xiaoman, which caused a great sensation. At that time, some school leaders said that they would give Lu Chen a demerit, but Teacher Kong protected him. In the end, Lu Chen only received a warning. Ban Bebe remembered this matter very clearly, and now she felt that it was very interesting to talk about it. Teacher Kong did not take credit. She smiled and said, "The main thing is that Lu Chen and Gu Xiaoman's love did not affect their studies, otherwise I would not agree. Now there are also students in love. I told them that as long as they can guarantee their grades and promise not to do anything to hurt each other, I will not interfere." Lu Chen gave a thumbs up and said, "Teacher Kong is wise." Teacher Kong shook her head and said, "In fact, whether in college or high school, although the relationship between a boy and a girl is very beautiful, it is difficult to have a happy ending. Only when you go into society and mature can you understand what real and responsible love is." She smiled and asked Ban Bebe, "Bebe, do you have a boyfriend now?" Ban Bebe shook her head with a red face, "Not yet, don't worry, the most important thing is to find the person you like and the person who likes you." Teacher Kong laughed. "Then Lu Chen, when are you getting married?" Everyone knew about the relationship between Lu Chen and Chen Feier. Although Teacher Kong did not care about the entertainment gossip, he knew about it very well. Lu Chen said, "If there are no accidents, it should be next year." "Ah." Ban Bebe pursed her lips and smiled. "This is big news. Has it really been confirmed?" Lu Chen and Chen Feier had been dating for several years. They were known as the best model couple in the entertainment industry. Countless fans hoped that this beautiful relationship would blossom as soon as possible. There were even many people who wanted to force them to marry each other on their blogs. Although Ban Bebe was far away in the UK, she often visited domestic websites and blogs, so she knew a lot. If Lu Chen's words were to spread, it would definitely make the entertainment headlines. In front of the teacher and old classmates, Lu Chen had nothing to hide. He said frankly, "Basically, it has not been made public for the time being. When the time comes, I will invite you and Teacher Kong to the wedding." Ban Bebe clapped her hands. "Then I have to prepare the red envelope first. Teacher Kong looked at the two students with a smile. In fact, she was more optimistic about the couple of Lu Chen and Ban Beibei. Unfortunately, the two were not destined to be together and could only be good friends. Ring ring ring. At this time, Lu Chen's cell phone rang. He immediately picked it up, said a few words and hung up, and then said, "The celebration in the auditorium is about to begin." Teacher Kong, "Teacher, let's go together." "Oh." Teacher Kong was annoyed. "I forgot about the business." "Let's go." The three left the classroom together and rushed to the school's auditorium. When Lu Chen appeared in the auditorium, everyone's eyes were focused on him. Binhai Middle School has been educating people for 100 years and has trained batch after batch of excellent students, including government officials, well-known entrepreneurs, and literary and artistic figures. But among the young people, no one is better than Lu Chen. He is like the sun, shining. At this celebration, Lu Chen, as one of the alumni representatives of Binhai Middle School, spoke on the stage. Although it was only a short 7 minutes, it won many warm applause. In the afternoon, Lu Chen attended the Lu Chen Bursary Fund ceremony also held in Binhai Middle School. This was a fund project established by his personal donation of 50 million yuan, mainly used to encourage and help outstanding and poor students in Binhai Middle School, affiliated high school, and affiliated primary school. This fund project was established a few months ago. It was Lu Chen's return to his three alma maters, affiliated primary school, affiliated high school, and Binhai Middle School. His mother, Fang Yun, served as the chairman, managing and supervising the fund to ensure that the funds were in place. After the ceremony, Lu Chen was received by the mayor of Binhai City and the secretary of the municipal party committee, and then he was interviewed by the TV station. It was not until 8:00 in the evening that he hurried to the gathering place. The gathering of Class 5 of 98 was held in a local 5-star hotel in Binhai. When Lu Chen arrived, a group of high school classmates had already finished their dinner and moved to the hotel's karaoke bar. When the waiter opened the door of the big room and invited Lu Chen in, the people inside were wailing and singing. The long sofa was filled with at least 30 people. Everyone was drinking and chatting. It was very lively. At first, no one noticed, thinking that it was a waiter or a student going to the toilet. It was a girl with sharp eyes who recognized Lu Chen. "Ah!" She involuntarily opened her eyes wide and screamed with her top soprano voice, "Lu Chen." Lu Chen took off his sunglasses and said with a smile, "Liao Shasha, your banshee's howl has been trained to the peak." This girl's name was Liao Shasha. She could emit a scream that could shatter the eardrum. Therefore, the boys in the class jokingly said that she had mastered the banshee's howl skill. Now, it was used by Lu Chen to tease her. The atmosphere in the room instantly froze. Several mic lords holding the microphone were speechless. Only the accompaniment music echoed. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Lao Wu, Fang Jian, Zhao Lincheng, Li Yuan, Zhang Zhenqin. Long time no see." The "long time no see" instantly closed the distance. The next moment, the atmosphere in the room was restored to the festive atmosphere. The male and female students all gathered around, shook hands and hugged Lu Chen, patted his shoulder and said hello. The estrangement and strangeness of not seeing each other for many years was washed away by the joy of reunion. Chapter 878. Binhai is not a big city, and its history is not very long. Its population and urban size are in the middle and lower reaches of cities of the same level, but its economy is quite developed. Especially in the last 30 years, many Binhai people have traveled across the sea to seek development in foreign countries. They are quite famous among overseas Chinese. Those Binhai people who have become rich in business have a strong sense of hometown. Many of them have come back to start businesses and companies, and use various ways to repay their hometown. Donations and good deeds are everywhere. Lu Chen's donation of 50 million yuan to his alma mater was actually following this tradition. On the other hand, it was also because he bought an island in the Maldives not long ago, which caused some criticism on the internet. Although it didn't set off any storm, donating money to education undoubtedly helped to consolidate his image. In a few years, Fang Yun will retire. She is reluctant to leave everything in Binhai and settle down in Beijing. With the title of chairman of the foundation, her retirement life will not be so lonely and boring. Fang Yun is also very supportive of this. After attending the centennial ceremony of Binhai Middle School, Lu Qin came to Hangzhou without stopping. On the evening of the 31st, he will participate in the New Year's Eve concert held by Zhidong Satellite TV at Hangzhou Huanglong Stadium. 2 years ago, Lu Qin bought a house in Hangzhou's Shizihao Yuan, so now that he is back in Hangzhou, he is not afraid of not having a place to stay. This 470 square meters penthouse mansion is empty most of the time. Before Lu Qin came, he had notified the property management company to have it cleaned. The house is large and clean, but because no one has lived in it for a long time, it looks deserted, which makes Lu Qin, who is alone, regret that he should not have bought such a big house. However, he doesn't really regret it. This house is a rare and out-of-print type. In the past 2 years, the price of houses in Hangzhou has risen sharply. He can easily sell this house for 20 million yuan, and he is sure that someone will be willing to take it over. After resting on the sofa for a while, Lu Qin took out his mobile phone and called Gao He. "Old 3, why did you think of calling me?" Gao He quickly picked up, but there was a hint of ridicule in his voice. "Did you suddenly remember that there is your own company here?" Lu Qin was speechless. To be honest, he didn't pay much attention to Happy Entertainment. He only gave them a few game ideas and left everything else to boss Gao. Pretty much all of Happy Entertainment's daily operations were managed by Lu Xi's side. She sent 2 people from the finance department to be stationed in Hangzhou, and as the chairman of the company, he only spent a few days here. From a business point of view, Lu Qin was completely unqualified to be the chairman. It was too easy for him to be taken over by others. Who knew when he would suddenly go bankrupt? But Lu Qin trusts Gao He. Perhaps this kind of trust is incredible to outsiders, because in the face of money and interests, friendship is difficult to withstand the test. Lu Qin really doesn't care. Gao He has never failed to live up to his trust. Happy Entertainment is thriving, and several mobile games launched this year have made a lot of money. Cut the crap. I've just arrived in Hangzhou, and I'll be freeloading your lunch. Gao He smiled and said, "Let me treat you. Then let's go to the back street and eat." Lu Qin smacked his lips. "Okay, I'll see you at the old place." This time, Gao He was shocked. "Are you really going to the back street to eat?" Lu Qin despised. "What's the problem?" "I'm going now. You can come with your wife." Gao He said, "Xiaoling can't come now. Let's meet and talk." His voice was a little strange. Lu Qin didn't think much about it. He hung up the phone and rushed to the back street from home. The back street was not called the back street. It was a small street behind Jianghai University. It was popular because there were many small restaurants and small hotels. Lu Qin and his roommates often ran to the back street to have a sumptuous meal. The familiar back street, the familiar scenery, the familiar smell of oil, and the familiar menu. After graduating for a few years, it seemed that nothing had changed here. Lu Qin, who returned here, couldn't help but recall his carefree college days. The old place where they agreed to meet was called Sichuan Cuisine Restaurant. The main dish was Sichuan cuisine. Boiled pork slices, pickled fish with pickled cabbage, and beef lung slices, spicy tofu, and so on. The taste was authentic, and the price was cheap and the quality was good. Lu Qin came early, so he grabbed the seat. If he came in a hurry, there would be no empty table. The owner of the restaurant was still the middle-aged uncle with a silly smile on his face. The proprietress was still the shrewd proprietress, but the waiter was replaced by a refreshing Sichuan girl. She asked Lu Qin what he wanted to order in Mandarin. The little girl was holding the order list in her hand, and her eyes were fixed on Lu Qin's face. She probably felt that Lu Qin looked ridiculous wearing a pair of big sunglasses. The customers here were mainly students, not like him. Lu Chen coughed twice and ordered 4 or 5 dishes in a row, all of which were the boss's specialties. In order to protect his throat, he rarely eats too spicy food, but it doesn't matter if he enjoys it occasionally. Otherwise, it would be too boring to worry about this and that. As soon as he finished ordering, Gao He came. Although he is the general manager of a well-known game company with a market value of more than 1 billion yuan in the industry, Gao He, who came to the back street to eat with Lu Chen today, doesn't look much different from before, except that his temperament has matured a lot. I deliberately changed my clothes and came here, Gao He smiled and said to Lu Chen, on the way here, I was thinking about whether you will cause trouble when you come here to experience life. I was thinking about whether I should call the police first. Bullshit. What do you mean by experiencing life? Lu Chen couldn't help but give him a contemptuous look, but unfortunately, it was blocked by the sunglasses. This is called reliving, recalling the good times of the past. You won't understand even if I tell you. Gao He laughed. The old rules, the last one to drink first. Lu Chen skillfully picked up a bottle of beer and opened it. He first poured a glass for Gao He. You didn't drive here by yourself. By the way, what happened to Xiaoling? Just now, he heard Gao He's voice on the phone was a little strange, and he wondered if something had happened. Gao He picked up the glass and drank it in one gulp. He smiled and said, I'm going to be a father. Xiaoling is at home. What the hell? Lu Chen was stunned. You didn't call me to tell me such a big thing? Gao He returned a contemptuous look. I'm a father, not you. What's there to say to you, unless you are willing to be the godfather of my child? Lu Chen was convinced. You are ruthless. Seriously, Gao He picked up the bottle and filled it up for himself and said, I'm going to be a father soon. When are you going to be a father? Everyone is very concerned about this problem. Lu Chen laughed. Let's not talk about this first, let's drink. Chapter 879. As the most popular star in the domestic entertainment industry, and he also owns a number of companies under his name, Lu Chen's net worth is also unmatched in the industry. In the latest issue of the entertainment industry's wealth list, Lu Chen ranks first with a net worth of 3.7 billion. But the industry generally believes that this is an underestimation. Lu Chen's net worth is at least 5 billion, and it will not be a problem for him to reach 10 billion in the future. He is fully qualified to participate in the competition of the wealth list. Although Gao He is far from being comparable to Lu Chen, he also owns 10% of Happy Entertainment's shares. At present, the industry's valuation of Happy Entertainment is about 3 billion, and 10% is 300 million. 2 billionaires sat in a backstreet restaurant filled with the smell of oil and smoke, drinking Westlake beer that cost 3 yuan a bottle, eating fish with pickled cabbage and chili that cost 28 yuan, and spicy tofu that cost 10 yuan, but he was very happy. You know what? When I was in Beijing, I often thought of the fish with pickled cabbage and chili here. Lu Chen picked up a large piece of tender fish, stuffed it into his mouth, and said vaguely, then I went to other restaurants to eat, but I didn't feel that it tasted like this. The fish with pickled cabbage and chili in this Sichuan restaurant can be regarded as the best. The main ingredients are fresh grass carp slices, pickled cabbage pickled at home, and chili and other seasonings brought back from Sichuan province. The fresh, fragrant, spicy, and sour taste are simply irresistible. When he was studying at Jianghai University, a group of people in Lu Chen's dormitory often came here to have a sumptuous meal, and the fish with pickled cabbage was a must-order dish. Beast, you eat so fast. Gao He quickly grabbed a piece of fish tail and said with a smile, then I'm much happier than you. As he spoke, he quickly picked up the fish. The two guys, who were worth hundreds of thousands of yuan a minute, fought over a plate of fish with pickled cabbage and chili that cost 28 yuan. In fact, it's not bad now. In the past, 4 people were fighting over a pot of vegetables, which was the most delicious. Excuse me, are you Senior Lu Chen? Just as the two of them were happily fighting over it, a timid voice suddenly came from the side. The one who asked the question was a girl sitting at the next table. She stared at Lu Chen. Big eyes were filled with excitement, and her pink cheeks were flushed. There were 3 other girls at her table, and they all looked as if they had discovered a new continent. Cough cough. Gao He's pickled cabbage was stuck in his throat and he almost choked to death. Someone recognized me. Lu Chen really wanted to say, I'm not Lu Chen, I just look more similar, and put on the sunglasses that were previously placed on the small dining table. But after thinking about it, he smiled at the girl and said, hello, junior martial sister. Since he called him senior, he must be an alumnus of Jianghai University. Ah! If the girl didn't dare to believe it before, then she was 100% sure now. She immediately let out a scream of joy. This scream didn't matter, but it attracted the attention of everyone in the restaurant. At mealtime, the Sichuan restaurant was full of seats. There were dozens of people, most of whom were students of Jianghai University. They immediately recognized Lu Chen. There was a sensation in the restaurant. Lu Chen is undoubtedly one of the most famous alumni of Jianghai University, and he is definitely the most familiar and proud senior among the current students. His achievements in his career and his various deeds are almost legendary among the teachers and students of Jianghai University. Almost everyone has heard of Lu Chen's songs and seen the TV and movies made by Lu Chen. Now, this legendary figure was actually eating Sichuan stir-fry like everyone else in front of them. One could imagine the psychological impact brought about by this. Fortunately, the quality of the college students is high, and there are not many brain-dead fans. They will not immediately rush up to ask for autographs, photos and hugs, but they also took out their mobile phones and took pictures of Lu Chen and uploaded them to the QQ group and their circle of friends. Lu Chen smiled bitterly at Gao He. It seems that he can't eat this meal. He knows very well how terrifying his fans are. Once people know that he is here, it is estimated that it will not take long for the entire backstreet to be surrounded by them. At that time, it will not be easy for him to leave. The girl just now took out a book and a pen from her bag and presented them to Lu Chen like a treasure. Senior Lu Chen, I am your fan, can you give me an autograph? Lu Chen has always been very tolerant to his fans, not to mention the other party is his junior sister. He nodded and took the pen and quickly signed his name on the other party's book. With this junior sister as a demonstration, other junior sisters who have long been ready to move finally couldn't keep their modesty and gathered around, asking for autographs or photos. Gao He had to get up to maintain order. His tall and strong appearance was inevitably misunderstood as Lu Chen's assistant. Lu Chen didn't put on airs. He didn't refuse any of their requests. Whether it was autographs or photos, he satisfied all of them one by one. It just made the owner of the restaurant want to cry but have no tears. Everyone is chasing stars without eating. You are Senior Gao He, right? Unexpectedly, a student recognized Gao He. Gao He looked dumbfounded. Yeah, do you know me? Just now, others thought that he was Lu Chen's assistant or bodyguard. They never thought that someone would know him. You and Senior Lu Chen are the pride of our Jianghai University. The boy who recognized him said with a smile, I am the CEO of Happy Entertainment. I have played Happy Farm, Plants vs. Zombies, and Angry Birds. They are all very fun. I am looking forward to the new games. Gao He was a little embarrassed by the praise, because he didn't expect that he could also become the pride of Jianghai University. In fact, Boss Gao, who is essentially a technical geek, has not yet fully realized his position in the industry. Happy Entertainment has launched a series of popular games before and after, which has become the benchmark of domestic mobile games. In recent years, Happy Entertainment can be said to have been imitated and has never been surpassed. The mobile game trend brought by it is regarded as a classic game development case and has been studied and discussed by countless people in the industry. As the most important figure in front of Happy Entertainment, Gao He is no longer the IT dog who struggled at the bottom. He has also left his own story among the students of Jianghai University. It's just that Gao He has been immersed in leading the team to make new games. The daily affairs of the company are managed by his wife and other executives. He rarely stands on the stage, so he doesn't feel much. And in his heart, he always believes that everything he has obtained comes from the support and help of Lu Chen. There is nothing to be proud of. But Lu Chen believes that without Gao He's efforts and hard work, Happy Entertainment would not have such glory. He is also the pride of Jianghai University. Chapter 880. In the end, Lu Chen and Gao He didn't manage to finish the meal. Seeing that there were more and more people in the restaurant, and many passers-by who didn't know the truth were attracted, they quickly left before things got out of hand. In the afternoon, the two came to the headquarters building of Happy Entertainment together. Lu Chen is the chairman of Happy Entertainment and owns most of the shares of this emerging game company. However, since the establishment of Happy Entertainment, the number of times he appeared in the company is really pitiful. This is definitely abnormal. Basically, no big company will have such a situation, especially a new company with a booming career. It's hard to imagine that the founder won't show up for a long time. But Happy Entertainment is really different from ordinary companies. The original intention of its establishment was that Lu Chen didn't want to see Gao He and his girlfriend break up because of career and life conflicts, so he helped his friend in college. Lu Chen provided creativity and funds, and handed over the establishment of Happy Entertainment to Gao He, and let the latter do it. What he gave was not only these, but also trust. He trusted that Gao He would not let himself down. And Gao He did not disappoint Lu Chen's trust. He worked hard to bring Happy Entertainment to where it is today, and at the same time, he reaped both career and love. It was this sincere friendship and mutual trust that allowed the two to not have any contradictions in the management of Happy Entertainment. Except for Lu Shi's financial supervision, Lu Chen has never told Happy Entertainment what to do at work. He is more like the spiritual leader of Happy Entertainment, or even a mascot. In fact, with the title of chairman of Lu Chen, it was really too easy for Happy Entertainment to attract talents. Even at the beginning of its establishment, this famous signboard could make people look up to it and bring a lot of convenience. Today, Happy Entertainment has more than 300 employees, at least more than half of which are Lu Chen's fans. They are also proud to work in Lu Chen's company. When they meet with friends outside, they can gain countless envy. Therefore, when Lu Chen comes back occasionally, he doesn't need to promise any salary increases or promotions. Big boosts the morale of the employees. But this time, Lu Chen didn't just come to Happy Entertainment for a simple inspection. Because in one day, that is, January 1, 2019, Happy Entertainment's first large-scale online game, The Proud, Smiling World, will officially launch its open beta. Lu Chen invested in the establishment of Happy Entertainment. In addition to helping Gao He, another important purpose was to build a series of industrial projects around wuxia IP, of which, The Proud, Smiling World, was one of the focuses. Like Happy Farm, which has been sold to QQ Games, and the popular Plants vs. Zombies, and Angry Birds, and so on, it is just a practice, which is used to accumulate the strength of the company. It was by relying on these short and quick projects that Happy Entertainment easily made a lot of money and invested it in the development of the online version of The Proud, Smiling World. In order to ensure the quality of the game, the online version of The Proud, Smiling World uses the latest virtual 3D engine. The cost of buying the copyright alone is as high as $10 million. It supports 3D and 5D dual mode vision, supports simultaneous game between computer and mobile, and will support VR mode in future versions. This game was set up more than a year ago. Happy Entertainment invested more than $200 million, hired a group of elites in the industry, and outsourced some of the content to top companies to assist in the production. Now they finally have a reliable finished product ready to go online. Come and play, let's see how our game is doing. In the office of Happy Entertainment's headquarters, Gao He excitedly led Lu Chen to sit in front of a computer. The 32-inch large screen shows the login interface of The Proud, Smiling World. In fact, Lu Chen has seen the expansion packs, CG scenes, character styles, game scenes and so on of the online version of The Proud, Smiling World, but it is definitely the first time to try it out. According to the account and password provided by Gao He, Lu Chen logged into the game with great interest. It hasn't been online yet. There is only one internal test server in the server. After choosing to enter, the character ID will come out, a level 60 test account. The class of the test account is Blade Master, the sect is Huashan, and the way to add skill points is Sword Master style. Lu Chen controlled the character to rush all the way to the wild monster area near Huashan, and the monsters were scared shitless by the sword. Although it is the first online game of Happy Entertainment, the production level is no worse than the domestic counterparts, especially with the latest 3D engine. Whether it is the architecture, scenery, character weapons, or light and shadow effects are very good, and the game experience is still very smooth with the high special anti-aliasing and so on. The most painstaking part of the production is the skill effect. When the solitary 9 swords is used, the flowing light is gorgeous and dazzling, coupled with exciting sound effects, it really makes people feel a kind of blood-boiling feeling. Moreover, players can switch between 3D or 5D game mode at will. They can play on computers or on mobile phones, which can be said to take care of the needs of most players. Lu Chen played for a full half an hour before he went offline. Great! He gave Gao He a thumbs up, thank you for your hard work. Success is by no means a fluke, especially for a large-scale online game like this. No pains, no gains. If you want to make a good game, you need excellent creativity, you need a lot of capital investment, and you need the cooperation and hard work of the team. Although Lu Chen rarely appears in Happy Entertainment, he also knows how much Gao He has paid for this game. Xiaoling even complained to Lu Shi that he often works overtime in the company and doesn't go home all day. Hearing Lu Chen's praise, Gao He and the other main creative staff around him were all happy and felt that their hard work has been rewarded. Gao He smiled and said, "This VIP account is specially created for you, and the equipment is the best. In the future, you can play at any time if you want to, and bring popularity in the game." Don't look at Gao He as a technical geek. In recent years, he also has a basic business mind. He knows how useful Lu Chen's golden signboard is. If he doesn't play it, it would be a waste of God's gift. So before Lu Chen came back, he deliberately told the technical department to create this account for Lu Chen. Gao He proudly shook his mobile phone, "When you played the game just now, I recorded it for you. I will put it on the blog and advertise it again, haha." Lu Chen is convinced. He didn't expect Gao Da's wooden head to finally be enlightened, but he has no reason to object. He should support it. Chapter 881. The short video shot by Gao He, after being carefully edited by the technicians of Happy Entertainment, was posted on his blog by Lu Chen, which immediately attracted a large number of fans. The number of fans on Lu Chen's blog is unmatched, and it is full of gold. Unlike many star artists who rely on zombie fans to create false popularity, every blog post he posts often attracts a large number of fans' clicks, reposts and comments, and often appears on the homepage's hot list. Therefore, his blog can be said to be an excellent publicity platform in the online world, with great advertising value. Many advertisers have approached Chinfei Media, hoping to promote through Lu Chen's blog, but no matter how high they offered, they were all rejected by Lu Chen. Lu Chen would only advertise for his own company, such as making TV shows, movies, and albums. The effect of advertising was much better than spending money on the media. The online game The Smiling, Proud Wanderer was the key project of next year's Wuxia IP plan. Naturally, it was worth his effort to promote it. I didn't think Chen, was also a fan of online games. Hey, what's this game? It looks very good, please introduce it to me. The Proud Wanderer, open beta on the 1st, I have downloaded the client and registered an account, waiting to go online. Brother in front, give me the download address, I want to play. Then if I register an account, will I be able to play this game with Chen? Hahaha, I'm going to join the Huashan sect, who wants to join? Please take me with you. The official website of the Proud Wanderer was officially launched as early as a month ago, gradually releasing content such as expansion packs, game introduction, official forum, and so on. Now you can download the client and register an account. In order to maximize the convenience of the game players, the account of the Proud Wanderer can be bundled with QQ. At present, the number of effective registrations has exceeded 1 million, which is not bad, but not particularly good. After all, there are too many kinds of online games and mobile games on the market, and players have a lot of choices. Many popular online games have a large number of loyal fans, and it is not easy for new games to come in and compete for this big cake. Although Happy Entertainment has launched a series of popular games, they are all small casual games, which can't be compared with large online games with more than 10 gigabytes, so many players are in a wait-and-see state. Therefore, if the proud wanderer wants to win a good start, early publicity is very important. The problem is that because too much money has been invested in the production, the publicity of this new game is not strong, and many people don't know about it. Now, Lu Chen posted a video of him playing games on his blog, and everyone knew about it. Not only did his fans support him, but many friends in the circle also forwarded and left messages, and the popularity rose all of a sudden. Moreover, the smiling, proud wanderer itself is already a popular IP and has a very high reputation. After being gently pushed by Lu Chen, the online game, The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, which will be launched for open beta the day after tomorrow, immediately appeared on the homepage of Immerse blog. For Gao He and the main creative staff of Happy Entertainment, this was almost a miracle. In just 1 or 2 hours, the number of fans of the official V of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer skyrocketed, the number of downloads on the official website increased explosively, and the number of account registrations kept rising, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. The most important thing is that the increase of these important data does not cost a penny. Although everyone knows that Lu Chen is very famous, they never thought that his star effect would be so strong, which is better than spending millions of advertising. Spending millions of advertising is time-consuming and laborious. Okay, Lu Chen patted Gao He's shoulder a few times and said, "The next step is up to you." On January 1st, in addition to the online beta of The Proud Wanderer, his third album, Lu Chen, will also be officially released on the market, and there will be a grand signing party in Beijing on the same day. Lu Chen still had a lot of signings to attend in major cities across the country, followed by a national concert tour on February 14th. In addition to the post-production of the last 2 parts of The Proud, Smiling Wanderer, there was no way he could find time to take care of Happy Entertainment. But Lu Chen believes that with the efforts of Gao He and others, The Proud Wanderer will be a success. The next day is December 31st, the last day of 2018. Lu Chen first met up with his assistant, and then rushed to Hangzhou Huanglong Stadium to participate in the New Year's concert of Zhidong Satellite TV. The local satellite TV station held a New Year's concert, first of all, Shonan TV ate crabs, and won a good market reputation and ratings, so it attracted other satellite TV stations in China to follow suit. Last year alone, 5 satellite TV stations held their own New Year's concert, and Zhidong Satellite TV was a step behind, holding it for the first time. Although it was more or less intended to test the waters, in terms of popularity, Zhidong Satellite TV was definitely not behind. A total of more than 20 star artists, including Hong Kong and Bao Dao, were invited to participate, and there were many big figures among them. Lu Chen is undoubtedly the most popular and has the biggest position. In order to let him choose to participate in the New Year's concert in his hometown, Zhidong Satellite TV spent a lot of effort. As a result, Lu Chen and Chen Fei had to be separated, one to participate in Zhidong TV and the other to participate in Beijing TV. In addition to the veteran overlord Shonan TV, as well as Shanghai Satellite TV, Deep Sea TV, and so on, there will be a ratings war tonight. It is estimated that many viewers will not know how to choose the TV station, or they will have to change it. When he arrived at Huanglong Stadium, Lu Chen was immediately warmly received by the staff of Zhidong Satellite TV station. The New Year's concert of Zhidong Satellite TV station started at 19:30 in the evening. Lu Chen came ahead of time at 3 p.m. to familiarize himself with the venue and equipment, and to cooperate with the staff, dancers, accompaniment, and so on to rehearse with the staff, so as to avoid any accidents during the live broadcast. This was a privilege that only big stars had. The extras and ordinary actors had already rehearsed many times, and the small stars had to come a few days in advance, and the treatment was also very different. In recent years, the New Year's concert has become popular, and the various satellite TV stations have scrambled for stars, and the performance fees have also risen. Usually, they can invite 100 or 200,000, but at this time, it has increased at least 2 or 3 times. In order to poach Lu Chen, Zhidong's satellite TV station offered a high price of 5 million to Qinfei Media, and it was still after tax. Even so, if they didn't play the family and friendship card, they might not be able to win against Xiangnan and Beijing Television. In the backstage area lounge of the stadium, Lu Chen met Tian. Chapter 882. Director Tian. Lu Chen smiled at Tian in a teasing tone. I haven't seen you for half a year and you've gotten prettier. It was not a compliment. Tian was indeed very beautiful that night. A diamond-studded evening gown accentuated her charming figure. She wore light makeup and was smiling. Her eyebrows were full of charm, making her look beautiful and elegant. Tian rolled her eyes at Lu Chen's teasing and said coquettishly, I'll tell Sister Fei, that you're flirting with me. Let's see how she'll deal with you. Lu Chen surrendered, alright, you're ugly today. After the joke, the two got down to business. Tian was both a good friend of Lu Chen and Qinfei, as well as a business partner. Star Factory Media, founded by Tian, had Lu Chen and Qinfei, shares. The first reality talent show, China's Voice, became an instant hit and was now the ace entertainment show of Zhidong's satellite TV station. The idea for China's Voice was provided by Lu Chen and the copyright was registered. With the show's popularity, the copyrights had been sold to many countries and they made a lot of money. It was also by relying on China's Voice that Star Factory Media's reputation in the industry soared. Tian became a rising star in the upper echelons of the industry and appeared on the cover of fashion magazines several times. In many ways, Star Factory Media was similar to Happy Entertainment. Lu Chen held shares and provided creative models, but they were also managed by others. Tian came to find Lu Chen not just to catch up with friends. The two were in different places and both were very busy. It was not easy to meet each other, so Tian made a long story short and asked directly, about what I told you last time, do you have any good ideas? In the industry, Lu Chen had the reputation of turning stone into gold. Not only did he make many celebrity artists popular, but the projects he invested in and managed were all successful. His creative inspiration seemed endless. Tian had personally experienced the magic of Lu Chen. When Star Factory was first established, she would never have imagined that China's Voice would become such a huge success. At the beginning, Tian still had the idea of being content with a little wealth, thinking that she could create a small career of her own after leaving Zhidong's satellite TV station. But now, she was eager to make Star Factory Media bigger and stronger, and even go public. She did not hide her ambition from Lu Chen and Qinfei, And to realize her ambition, just relying on China's Voice alone was far from enough. Star Factory Media needed more competitive products. Naturally, Tian went to Lu Chen and confidently asked him for ideas. Lu Chen smiled. He took out a stack of paper that he had prepared beforehand and handed it to the other party. For this matter, Qinfei had spent a lot of time on pillow talk. He had deliberately squeezed out some time to come up with a plan. Tian's eyes suddenly lit up and she could not wait to snatch it. She did not expect Lu Chen to be so well prepared. Looking at the thickness of the paper, this program plan must be quite complete. Maybe it could be directly launched. Tian had never doubted Lu Chen's talent and strength. Where are we going, Dad? But when she saw the title of the program, she was still stunned. What the hell was this? Out of trust in Lu Chen, Tian still looked at it carefully. Gradually, her expression changed. Sometimes she frowned, sometimes she relaxed, and her eyes flashed with an inexplicable brilliance. There was still some time before the rehearsal, so Lu Chen was not in a hurry to rush her. He unscrewed a bottle of mineral water and slowly drank it. Where are we going, Dad, was the new program proposal that he specially came up with for Star Factory Media. the creative idea was still derived from the memory of the dream world. It was a popular entertainment program. Different from the popular singing and acting talent shows, Where Are We Going, Dad? Was a fresh outdoor parent-child reality show. The target audience was celebrities with children of the right age, allowing them to participate in the show together, presenting a storybook of celebrity family life education. Most importantly, this program was completely out of the recording studio, allowing the participating celebrities' families to experience a different kind of life in the beautiful wilderness. There was too much content and interest to be unearthed. Tian was originally in the industry, and after completing a major project like China's Voice, her ability had been greatly tempered. Naturally, her judgment had also improved correspondingly. Therefore, even before she finished reading the program proposal that Lu Qin came up with, she already felt that, Where Are We Going, Dad? Would definitely be a success. It was highly likely that it would become another popular variety show after China's Voice. After flipping to the last page, Tian carefully put the proposal away, then looked at Lu Qin. Lu Qin was baffled. What's wrong? Tian sighed. I really want to open your head and see why you can come up with so many good ideas. Lu Qin smiled and said, Do you think this is a good idea? Of course. Tian said without hesitation. Her pretty face was flushed with excitement. The company has also hired several program planners to come up with several sets of new program plans. They are all singing and dancing. It's completely copying others' ideas. After seeing your plan, I decided to go back and fire them all. Lu Qin shook his head and said, It's not that exaggerated. My plan is just a rough idea. Many details still need to be modified according to the actual situation. If you fire them, who will help you? Tian smiled and changed the topic. Do you think it's okay for us to work with another TV station for this program? Huh? Lu Qin was stunned. Why? China's Voice was a cooperation between Star Factory and Zhidong Satellite TV Station. Because Tian came from Zhidong Satellite TV Station, she had connections in the station, so it was naturally more convenient to cooperate. The most important thing was that Star Factory was in Hangzhou. If they did not choose the nearby one, would they choose the one far away? Tian hesitated for a moment and said, Someone in the station said that the original contract for China's Voice was signed unfairly. They said that I took advantage of it and wanted to revise it. Tian had connections in Zhidong Satellite TV Station, but not everyone liked her. She resigned to start a company and made a lot of money with China's Voice. Many people were jealous and said a lot of strange things behind her back. Tian did not care about these rumors, but she could not bear to overturn the original contract. It was clearly a win-win cooperation. Star Factory made a lot of money, and the satellite TV station was also full of benefits. How could she bear to burn the bridge after crossing the river? Chapter 883. In the eyes of others, Lu Qin's relationship with Zhidong Satellite TV Station was very good. He appeared in Zhidong Satellite TV Station's programs many times, participated in many activities organized by the satellite TV station, and the TV series he starred in also premiered on Zhidong Satellite TV Station, not to mention that Lu Qin himself was from Zhidong. Thanks to this good relationship, coupled with Tian's own network resources, the cooperation between Star Factory and Zhidong Satellite TV Station, which Lu Qin had a stake in, was also very pleasant. Both sides worked together to build The Voice of China into a top-rated variety program. However, as the saying goes, there are no eternal friends, only eternal interests. It was precisely because The Voice of China was too successful that there were some strange voices inside Zhidong Satellite TV Station. The key point was the contract signed between Star Factory and Zhidong Satellite TV Station. The Voice of China was filmed and produced by Star Factory Media and owned the brand copyright of the program. Therefore, after The Voice of China became popular, a series of brand licensing and copyright transfer involved had nothing to do with Zhidong Satellite TV Station and naturally could not share the benefits. Moreover, Star Factory enjoyed a high share of the program's title, especially this year's exclusive title fee of $270 million, and Star Factory took half of it. Not only that, next year's title fee for the new season would definitely exceed $300 million. With such a big benefit, how could it not make people jealous? When signing the contract, Zhidong's satellite TV station did not expect The Voice of China to be so popular, repeatedly breaking the ratings record of reality talent shows. As a result, a large piece of the cake was poached by Star Factory. Of course, The Voice of China was invested and produced by Star Factory, and it was reasonable to share the benefits. However, some people in the satellite TV station thought that the former still had a big advantage, and they had suffered a big loss. Such a voice existed last year, and it became stronger today. Some people were jealous of Tian and said strange things, and it involved some internal struggles within the satellite TV station. Some people wanted to make an issue out of it. In some people's view, the success of The Voice of China mainly relied on the strength and promotion of the satellite TV station. The program brand had also been firmly tied to the satellite TV station, and the previous contract was obviously unfair and needed to be revised. They were not afraid of falling out with Star Factory. They could change to Asia's Strongest Voice, China New Voice, and modify the program model to avoid copyright disputes, and then they could swallow all the benefits. This kind of voice is now very popular within the satellite TV station, and it has also caused a lot of pressure on Tian. One of the leaders of the station privately told Tian to pay attention to her image. They're the ones who want to burn the bridge after crossing it, yet they want me to pay attention to the consequences. Tian was filled with righteous indignation. You're making it sound like I don't know how to be a person. Don't you think about how much the station has earned? The money-making ability of a top-rated variety show was terrifying. The exclusive title sponsorship fee could easily reach hundreds of millions, and the advertisements before and after the show were even more lucrative, not to mention the positive impact on the television station itself. Lu Qin nodded. If Tian didn't say it before, he really didn't know that there were so many things inside. He was also dissatisfied with the approach of some people in Zhidong satellite TV, and he fully understood Tian's thoughts. It's not wise to put all your eggs in one basket. After thinking about it, Lu Qin said, it's a good idea to work with another company for the new program proposal. I support you. Tian beamed with joy. I knew you would support me. Lu Qin said with a smile, then, which company are you going to work with? He just asked casually, but he didn't expect Tian to answer confidently. Some time ago, Shonan TV came to me. They should have heard the news and said that they are willing to take over The Voice of China and sign a 3-year contract with the same conditions. Shonan TV? Lu Qin was stupefied. This was blatantly trying to poach the corner of the wall. Tian continued, I thought that it was unlikely that you and Shonan TV and Zhidong satellite TV would break the contract, so I didn't agree, but if it's a new program, I can consider it. They are very sincere. Lu Qin said with a smile, I don't have much conflict with Shonan TV. Even if there is, it has already been said. If you think it's worth it, then there's no problem with cooperating with them. The grudge between Lu Qin and Shonan TV was no secret in the circle, but with the rapid rise of his status in the circle in the past 2 years, Shonan TV put down their status and took the initiative to express their willingness to cooperate several times. Lu Qin did not regard Shonan TV as an enemy or anything. The past was long past, and he had no grudge against Shonan TV. It was also a good thing to have the opportunity to cooperate. Tian was relieved. That's good. I'll talk to them later. She waved her fist and said, I will let some people know that I am not someone to be trifled with. Lu Qin was amused. Tian blushed at his smile and said quickly, I'll go prepare first. I'll treat you to supper in the evening. Tian was one of the special guest hosts of Zhidong Satellite TV's New Year's concert tonight, so she also had to rehearse on stage in the afternoon. She didn't come to see Lu Qin specifically. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, the afternoon passed, and night fell. Lu Chen did not leave the stadium after the rehearsal. He had a simple working meal backstage, and then waited for the live broadcast of the party to officially begin. It was still early, and he had just eaten, so Lu Chen got up and walked out of the lounge, only to find that the backstage area was already very lively. The singers, artists, dancers, musicians, and staff who participated in the performance were gathered together, nervously and orderly completing the final preparations. Teacher Lu. Teacher Lu. Lu Chen's appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention, and those singer guests greeted him warmly. Several Lu Chen looked a little familiar, but he couldn't tell their names. Out of politeness, he responded to them one by one. While smiling politely, he secretly regretted it in his heart. He didn't like this kind of social interaction very much. He felt like a panda, and some people were very good at taking advantage of the situation. They kept pestering him, and all kinds of compliments made him feel embarrassed. Brother Lu Chen. Fortunately, the appearance of Mu Xiaochu saved Lu Chen. Tonight, Zhidong Satellite TV's New Year's concert invited MSN, so Mu Xiaochu was also backstage. The good relationship between Mu Xiaochu and Lu Chen was well known in the circle. She held Lu Chen's arm and smiled, so naturally there was no room for others to interrupt. Several small stars who couldn't find an opportunity could only secretly envy them. At 7:30 p.m., the 2018-2019 Zhidong Satellite TV New Year's concert officially began. Hangzhou Huanglong Stadium, which could accommodate 70,000 people, was already full. Chapter 884. The laughter of the sea, the surging tide on both sides, floating and sinking with the waves, only remembering today. The heaven laughs, the world tides, who loses and who wins, God knows. Hangzhou Huanglong Stadium, on the big stage, Lu Chen and Liao Jia sang the theme song of The Ocean's Roar, of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, accompanied by the September Band. In the movie, The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, this song was created by Lu Chen and sung by Lu Gangsheng and Tan Hong together as the interlude and ending song, and it was also the main melody of this martial arts drama. With the success of the movie, The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, The Ocean's Roar has also become a well-known classic, so when the two sang together, there were countless fans in the audience singing in unison. Originally, Zhidong Satellite TV intended to invite Lu Gangsheng and Tan Hong to participate in this New Year's concert, but the former had long been scheduled to perform in Hong Kong's satellite TV, while the latter had no intention of appearing on the big stage again. Therefore, this song was reinterpreted by Lu Chen and Liao Jia. Liao Jia also agreed to the invitation of Zhidong Satellite TV because of Lu Chen. He liked this song even more than Tan Hong. In fact, it was also him who proposed to sing The Ocean's Roar with Lu Chen. The rivers and mountains laugh, the misty rain is far away, the waves wash away the world of mortals, how many do you know in the secular world? The breeze laughs, unexpectedly provokes loneliness, the lofty sentiments still remain. This song, The Ocean's Roar, is grand and heroic, with a natural and unrestrained feeling in the vicissitudes of life. The whole song is like a surging river, flowing for 1,000 miles, giving people a very carefree feeling. It also complements the movie, and is regarded as the most outstanding theme song in domestic movies in recent years. And many music critics think that this is also one of Lu Chen's best works. Although The Ocean's Roar was composed by Lu Chen, he was not the original singer. Therefore, he sang this song with Liao Jia tonight. Although the arrangement and the background music had changed a lot, the artistic conception and spirit of wandering in Jianghu with a sword remained unchanged. Among the 70,000 spectators sitting in the Huanglong Stadium tonight, many were Lu Chen's fans. They had traveled thousands of miles to Hangzhou City just for Lu Chen. Of course, they were very familiar with The Ocean's Roar. Similarly, there were many people who had seen The Smiling, Proud Wanderer. They were listening to the familiar melody and singing and watching the clip of the movie on the big screen. The autumn wind was cool, and the river water was clear. The two best friends were on a floating wooden boat, singing the unrestrained and unrestrained song of being born in the secular world. The long gown and scholar's hat were floating on the river. Under the dusk, the melodious sound of the zither could be heard. In the vast sea, a laugh could be heard. How could one not be moved by this scene, this song, and this sound? The heroic spirit is still there, smiling like a fool. When Liao Jia finished the last sentence, he suddenly swung the microphone in his hand and shouted, "Awesome!" This "awesome" instantly won the cheers and applause of the audience like a tsunami, setting off a new wave of climax of the grand concert tonight. Liao Jia laughed, opened his arms and hugged Lu Chen hard, and then turned around gracefully and left the stage. He didn't attend the New Year's Eve concert to show his face or make money. He just wanted to have a good time. After singing the ocean's roar, his mind would be clear and he would be satisfied. He also left the stage to Lu Chen. On the big stage, a bright spotlight fell on Lu Chen, making him the only focus of the whole stage and the whole stadium. The cheers, and applause gradually subsided. Only the light sticks were still waving, and the support cards with Lu Chen's name were still waving, drawing dazzling lights and shadows in the dark auditorium. Facing the tens of thousands of audience, Lu Chen smiled and said, "Tonight, I am very happy to return to my hometown and stand on this stage again to sing for you. The year 2019 is coming. First of all, I wish you a happy new year and all your wishes come true in the new year." After that, he bowed deeply to the audience. The enthusiasm of the audience, which had just been suppressed, suddenly burst out again, like an unstoppable volcano. Lu Chen! Lu Chen! Countless people shouted his name, and many fans couldn't help standing up and waving the light sticks in their hands desperately, hoping that Lu Chen would notice their existence. Lu Chen straightened up and continued, "The next song is a new song." Before he finished speaking, he was immediately interrupted by another burst of cheers from the audience. Many fans liked Lu Chen. First of all, they liked his songs, liked his original classic works, and liked to get a steady stream of surprises from him. Lu Chen's talent in music creation had long been unquestionable. Although because Lu Chen put his energy on film and television, from time to time there were doubts in the circle that Lu Chen's talent has been exhausted, they were all slapped in the face. Now, Lu Chen once again gave his fans a surprise, but it was not a very unexpected surprise. This surprise was for the tens of thousands of audience present, and also for the tens of millions of audience in front of the TV. Today was the last day of 2018, and in 3 hours it would be 2019. In order to welcome the arrival of the new year, a total of 6 domestic TV stations held New Year's Eve concerts, including almost half of the star artists in the entertainment industry. Since the starting time of the New Year's Eve concerts of each TV station were basically the same, the competition for the ratings was extremely fierce, especially in the prime time now, where it was directly bare-chested. The audience held the remote control in their hands and had the greatest autonomy. They could watch whichever TV station they wanted to watch, and often only to find their favorite stars or songs, so the real-time ratings data fed back often fluctuated greatly. But at this moment, Zhidong Satellite TV's ratings ranked first, directly crushing the second-ranked Shonan TV by 2 points, and it was gradually widening. Although such a lead was temporary, it was enough to make Zhidong Satellite TV proud. Only Lu Chen could create such a miracle. This song is included in my new album, which will be released nationwide tomorrow. Lu Chen took the opportunity to advertise his new album, which at this time could at least be worth millions of advertising fees, and today is the first time I will sing in public. I hope everyone can like it. The name of this song is Blue and White Porcelain! As Lu Chen's voice fell, an ink painting of the Jiangnan water town appeared on the giant LED screen behind him. A blue and white porcelain appeared with the ripples of the water, and the name of the song, Blue and White Porcelain, appeared in everyone's sight. The Huanglong Stadium quieted down in an instant, and many people couldn't help holding their breath, for fear of hearing even one of the lyrics wrong. Chapter 885. Many people believe that Lu Chen's achievements in music far exceed others. Although the TV series and movies he starred in are all popular, they can't compare to his contribution to the Chinese pop music world. Lu Chen's earliest compositional style was folk songs, and he created a unique campus folk song, led the new trend of domestic pop music, and brought up a group of original folk singers. Tien, not bad. Subsequently, his creations involved light rock and the most popular love songs, and he also took out several popular themes and ethnic works, which expanded his fan base. In terms of pop music, Lu Chen has established himself as the king of Chinese pop music world with a series of fine and classic works. In addition to his huge influence in China, many of his works have been covered by people and are popular in many Southeast Asian countries. He has many fans in South Korea, Japan, and other places. This diversity of creative styles is undoubtedly a distinct brand on Lu Chen's musical achievements. Every one of his works has been studied by people in the industry, and those record media and entertainment companies that are most sensitive to the market are always paying attention to Lu Chen's movements, including many creative singers. Nothing is more worthy of their attention than Lu Chen's new songs. Tonight's New Year's Eve party of Zhidong Satellite TV has an unparalleled ratings among a specific group of people. They listen to the New Year's work brought by Lu Chen on TV, on computers, or with mobile phones, which was included in Lu Chen's third album. Maybe this new song will bring about a new trend in the music world. The blue and white flowers are outlined in a simple embryo, and the brush tip turns from thick to light. The peony depicted on the bottle is just like your first makeup. The sandalwood fragrance slowly passes through the window, and I understand your thoughts. The brush on the rice paper has been put down halfway, the glaze rendering the charm of the painting of a lady is privately hidden, and your sweet smile is like a budding flower. This, blue and white porcelain, is a masterpiece of China style. It describes the sorrow of parting between lovers very tactfully and delicately, hidden in a subtle yet unique charm, like a green olive that can be slowly tasted in the mouth. In terms of artistic conception, the first thing this song presented to people was a misty and hazy Jiangnan ink landscape picture. Between the faint colors, one could vaguely see the white dress of the beautiful woman and her skirt fluttering in the wind. The lyrics were beautiful and full of charm, as if it was a beautiful letter written by the window, with hundreds and thousands of twists and turns, intertwined with love, extremely exquisite. In terms of melody, Blue and White Porcelain was like a mountain stream flowing quietly on a rock. It was clear and bright, winding and lingering, just like celadon that cared about its own beauty. It was simple and elegant without any pretentiousness. But the most touching part was Lu Chen's interpretation of the song. It was affectionate but not boring, clear but not weak. It was as if he was narrating, and every word that entered the ears moved the heartstrings. The azure sky waits for the misty rain. And I'm waiting for you. Smoke rose in spirals. Thousands of miles across the river. At the bottom of the bottle, the calligraphy was engraved to imitate the elegance of the previous dynasty. Just a foreshadowing of my meeting you. Hangzhou was a very unique city. She was a gentle and moving young lady. Under the light and heavy makeup of West Lake, she transformed into a curtain of misty rain in the south of the Yangtze River. Under the fragrance of Longjing tea, under the osmanthus flowers, every trace of meaningful and elegant. This city and the temperament of Blue and White Porcelain were almost perfect, so it was used by Lu Chen as the new song for tonight's concert. This, Blue and White Porcelain, was also a good song that needed to be savored carefully. It would not give people a strong sense of impact at once, but the more you listened to it, the more it tasted. In the tide of applause and cheers, Lu Chen, who finished singing Blue and White Porcelain, bowed to thank the audience and then left the stage. Tonight, he would fly back to Beijing. When Lu Chen's flight took off, a large number of concert clips had appeared on Waves's blog, and Blue and White Porcelain was directly pushed to the home page of the hot list. The most enthusiastic response was from music critics. Their love and praise for this song were very high. Some music critics regarded it as a new breakthrough in Lu Chen's music creation, and predicted that it would create a new genre, making people look forward to Lu Chen's new album, which would go on sale tomorrow. After nearly 2 years, Lu Chen finally released his third album. This album, named after him, attracted the attention of a large number of fans and the industry from the beginning. As of Christmas on December 25, the pre-orders for Lu Chen's album had exceeded 1 million copies. Of course, this pre-order included a variety of package combinations, from the cheapest single-disc CD of 20 yuan to the gold limited edition commemorative set of 8,888 yuan. And this was already an impressive achievement. Because online pre-orders needed to be paid in full, this new album had not yet been officially released, but Qinfei Media had already raked in more than 100 million yuan. After deducting production, channels, promotion, taxes, and other costs, there was at least a 30% profit. For other singers, this is an unimaginable miracle, because today's pop singers rarely rely on selling albums to make money. Everyone goes through advertising, business, entertainment, and other channels to make money. 9 out of 10 people will starve to death if they stay in their own land to sell records. And even if they sold albums, they mainly went the way of online albums. If they sold tens of thousands of copies, it would be worth holding a celebration party. After all, although copyright management was quite strict, piracy of pop songs was unavoidable and strangled. On the one hand, the latest songs could be downloaded with a click of the mouse. On the other hand, they needed to spend money to buy it, which was a great test of human nature. Most of the people who were really willing to support were fans. And in this regard, the terrifying popularity that Lu Chen had accumulated over the years burst out violently. When Lu Chen returned home in Beijing, it was already past 3:00 in the morning on January 1, 2019. It was more or less a pity that he could not welcome the new year with Qinfei. Putting down his luggage, Lu Chen took out clean clothes from the wardrobe and took a hot shower in the bathroom. After drying his hair, he changed into pajamas and crept to the bedroom. The bedroom was lit with a small night light, and the faint orange light shone on the big bed. Qinfei, who was covered with a down quilt, was immersed in a dream with a sweet smile on his face. No one knew what kind of dream he was having. Lu Chen quietly lifted the down quilt and got into bed. A warm and fragrant smell instantly rushed into his nose, making him exhale comfortably, and his whole person relaxed. It felt good to be home. He leaned over and kissed Qinfei, on the forehead, and reached out to turn off the night light. At this time, Qinfei, woke up from her sleep with a ah. She blinked and saw Lu Chen lying beside her. Note: Blue and White Porcelain Lyrics, Fang Wenshan/composer, Zhou Jieluan. Chapter 886. You're back. Trying to open her sleepy eyes, Qinfei, murmured, what time is it now? Lu Chen put his hand on the back of her neck and carefully pulled her into his arms. He said, I just came back. It's still early. Go to sleep. Qinfei, turned sideways and pressed herself against Lu Chen. She adjusted her posture to make herself more comfortable. She rubbed her head against Lu Chen's chest like a cat eager to be pampered. She even nibbled him mischievously. Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. He only felt happy and satisfied in his heart. The two of them leaned against each other without speaking. They could feel the warmth and love from each other. They only hoped that time could stop at this moment forever. Lu Chen was the most popular male star in the country, and Qinfei, was also qualified to be called the most famous female star. The two of them had common careers and their own careers. The time they spent together was not as long as the time they spent working together. Therefore, whether it was Lu Chen or Qinfei, they cherished the private time that belonged to them very much. They made each other a spiritual harbor in their busy lives. Sleepiness came quietly. Lu Chen couldn't help yawning because of the tiredness of running all the way. However, at this moment, Qinfei, suddenly said, I have something to tell you. Lu Chen's mind was already a little confused. He asked subconsciously, what is it? He didn't hear the hesitation and uneasiness in his girlfriend's voice. Qinfei, bit her lip and said softly, I'm pregnant. Lu Chen smacked his lips and asked vaguely, what is it? The next moment, it was as if a bolt of lightning flashed in his mind, making his consciousness suddenly sober. Lu Chen suddenly opened his eyes and asked in disbelief, you mean? I'm pregnant. Qinfei hugged him tightly, buried her head in his arms and nodded. Ha! A great joy rose in his heart, instantly drowning Lu Chen's entire body, making him feel as if he had been electrocuted from head to toe, his whole body involuntarily trembling. I'm going to be a father. At this moment, Lu Chen wanted to announce to the world that he was going to be a father. The surprise and happiness came so suddenly that he couldn't believe it. He hurriedly asked, "When did you find out? Did you go to the hospital for a checkup? How long has it been?" In fact, thinking about it carefully, when the two of them were together, they didn't take any protective measures seriously. Especially when they were passionate, they didn't care that much. Chen Fei's pregnancy wasn't a big surprise. Chen Fei raised her head from his arms and said with a red face, "I was a little suspicious last week. When you went to Hangzhou, I bought a pregnancy test stick and tested it. Then the day before yesterday, I went to the hospital for a follow-up. It has been more than 4 weeks." Lu Chen couldn't help but complain, "Why didn't you tell me such a big thing earlier?" Chen Fei pouted and said, "I was afraid that it would affect your work." It was only for 1 or 2 days. She looked at Lu Chen seriously, and there was a flash of uneasiness in her eyes. You won't be unhappy, will you?" Lu Chen was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How can I be unhappy? I'm really too happy." At this moment, Lu Chen finally felt the weakness and uneasiness in Chen Fei's heart. Without thinking, he hugged her tightly and said, "Fei, let's get married." He had wanted to say this for a long time. It was a little late to say it now, but it was good that he said it. Chen Fei's body trembled, and her eyes were filled with tears. She wouldn't tell Lu Chen that she had been waiting for him to say this. Because of her family, she had an inexplicable fear of two people getting married and living together. She had seen too many men and women in the entertainment industry break up and get together, so she didn't have 100% confidence in the relationship between her and Lu Chen. Until now, when she heard Lu Chen's firm request, she finally saw her heart clearly. "Let's get married." Chen Fei nodded hard, and tears fell from the corners of her eyes. "Don't cry." Lu Chen was so distressed that he quickly kissed away the tears on her face. "It's not good for the baby." Chen Fei rubbed his pajamas hard to wipe away her tears. She said angrily, "If you start to care about the baby now, will you love the baby more than you love me in the future?" Lu Chen knew that this was not the time to be reasonable, so he quickly coaxed, "How can that be possible? I love the baby, and I love you. Both of you are the most important." Chen Fei snorted and said discontentedly, "You only know how to coax me. Who knows what you're thinking in your heart?" Lu Chen could only smile bitterly. However, Chen Fei's mood finally calmed down. She leaned into Lu Chen's arms again and asked softly, "Do you like boys or girls? Do you think Auntie likes boys more?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "My mother doesn't value boys more than girls. I like girls more." What's the saying? A daughter is a father's sweet little cotton-padded jacket. Chen Fei pinched him. She was your little lover in your previous life. Lu Chen surrendered. Actually, we can have a few more children. We can have both boys and girls. It's best if it's lively. Chen Fei went to the main point again. "Do you think I'm a pig?" She said again, "We have to have 2 children. It's too lonely to have one." The more Lu Chen thought about it, the more excited he became. "No matter how many children we have, the first one is the most important. I'll call my sister now and ask her to stop all your work arrangements for this year. I'll also call Mom." Chen Fei was speechless. "It's the middle of the night now. Let's not talk about it." She was still a little hesitant. Lu Chen objected, "How can we not talk about it? If we don't talk about it now, let's talk about it tomorrow. I want to post it on my blog." He smiled and said, "I want to tell everyone that I'm going to be a father. I want to tell the whole world the happiness I have." "No." Chen Fei said shyly, "We're not married yet. It's not good to let everyone know. Besides, if you post it on your blog, people will say that you're using my pregnancy to promote your new album. It's not good." "That's true." Lu Chen patted his head. he was a little muddle-headed. The entertainment industry was too complicated. It was better to keep a low profile as much as possible. Then let's go home together in a few days to register. I'll tell Mom then and set the wedding date. Chen Fei nodded obediently. Lu Chen suppressed his excitement and said, "It's very late. Let's sleep. It's very important to rest." He reached out and turned off the night light, and the bedroom suddenly fell into darkness. But for the rest of the time, Lu Chen basically couldn't sleep. He hugged Chen Fei, recalling the bits and pieces of the past between them, looking forward to a beautiful and happy life in the future. Tonight was destined to be a sleepless night. Chapter 887. When Lu Chen woke up in the morning, it was already 9 o'clock in the morning. Usually, he would wake up around 6 o'clock and exercise for nearly 2 hours. At 9 o'clock, he would basically enter work mode. It was rare for him to sleep so late. However, the situation last night was too special. The surprise of Chen Fei's pregnancy made Lu Chen sleepless all night. He only fell asleep after 6 o'clock. When he woke up, Chen Fei was still clinging to his arms. Looking at his beloved, Lu Chen couldn't help but smile. He lowered his head and kissed her hard on the lips. After being harassed by him like this, Chen Fei woke up with a moan. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Good morning, mother of the child." Chen Fei, who had just woken up, was stupefied, and immediately understood. She pouted coquettishly and punched him twice in the chest, inadvertently revealing her coquettish charm, which made Lu Chen's mind ripple. Although they had known each other for several years, his attraction to Chen Fei had never decreased. Instead, he became more and more infatuated with her. It was like drinking a cup of mellow wine. The more he tasted, the more delicious it became. Naturally, he had the urge to do it. Chen Fei, who was snuggling in his arms, immediately noticed it. She giggled and opened her little fist that was pounding on Lu Chen's chest. She stretched out her index finger and drew circles on his firm chest. In the past, Lu Chen would definitely transform into a wolf and swallow Little Red Riding Hood in his arms. However, he really couldn't do it now. Thinking of the baby in her belly that had just started to develop, he could only endure it. Looking at Lu Chen's depressed and sullen expression, Chen Fei couldn't help but laugh. She twisted in Lu Chen's arms and whispered in his ear, "There's still a year. Can you endure it?" Lu Chen said firmly, "You have to endure it even if you can't. Actually, it's not a problem. As the saying goes, after tasting the marrow, one would know the taste. It would definitely be a little difficult in the beginning, but it would be fine once one got used to it." If he did not even have the willpower, Lu Chen would not have persisted in practicing martial arts every day for 4 years. In the entertainment industry, many celebrities had scandals of cheating on their wives when they were pregnant. In the past, such people were the targets of Lu Chen's contempt. How could he become the kind of person he despised? Chen Fei was overjoyed. "Really? Good boy, do you want me to get you a concubine? I am very magnanimous." This was really possible. As long as Lu Chen moved to Xiangjiang or Taiwan, he would be able to remarry according to the laws of the Special Economic Zone. Moreover, he could still catch the last train now. In a few years, the laws would be revised. To put it bluntly, with Lu Chen's wealth, if he wanted to marry more, who knew how many women would be willing to be his second wife or third wife? But Lu Chen did not hesitate to refuse the temptation and replied sternly, "No, you are enough for me." Chen Fei snorted, glanced at him coquettishly, and said, "Don't think I don't know that your sisters Xiaochu and Tian actually like you very much." Lu Chen smiled bitterly. "I really don't have that kind of idea." How could he not know that Mu Xiaochu had always been secretly in love with him? How could he not know that Tian was secretly in love with him? It was just that as a man, he had to be responsible and responsible. He had already made a lifelong commitment to Chen Fei. How could he betray his oath of love? Therefore, he could only let her down and make up for it in other ways. Lu Chen also knew that the reason why Qin Fei suddenly revealed this was most likely because she was pregnant and had a sense of insecurity in her heart. She was not usually jealous. Thinking about it, he felt more and more pity for her. He hugged Qin Fei and said seriously, "Don't think too much. In this life, you are the only one I want. No matter how good or beautiful others are, they can't replace you." The touching words of love softened the depression in Qin Fei's heart, making her truly feel Lu Chen's hot and unreserved love for her. Her eyes rippled with tenderness. Suddenly, she turned over and pressed Lu Chen down, saying in a sweet voice, "Don't move." The next moment, she kissed Lu Chen's neck, then kissed his chest, and then further down. "Lu Chen, huh? Ha. Ah." When Lu Chen finished washing up and came out of the bathroom refreshed, it was already past 10 o'clock. As soon as he arrived at the study, he received a call from his sister. "You're back." "I'm back. Don't forget the signing at Xinhua bookstore in Wangfujing in the afternoon. It starts at 2 o'clock on time." "Got it. Don't worry." After hesitating for a moment, Lu Chen said, "Sister, let me tell you something." Hearing that Lu Chen's tone was not right, Lu Shi immediately became serious. "What is it?" "Ahem." Lu Chen coughed twice and said, "Fei is pregnant." "Pregnant?" His sister's tone instantly rose by 3 degrees. "Pregnant." Lu Chen coughed and said, "It's enough that you know. Don't tell anyone for the time being. Fei's work has to be rearranged. You." If it had been Lu Chen, his sister would probably have grabbed a broom and whipped him. "What's going on? I'm not prepared at all. You suddenly tell me. Hey, when are you getting married? You can't have a wedding with a pregnant woman. Let me check the date first." "Oh, did you tell Mom?" "Anne." Probably because it was too sudden, his sister, who was originally smart and capable, suddenly became a bit talkative and even a little incoherent. "You have to take care of Fei's health. Don't let her get tired." "Oh, you don't understand these things. Stop, stop, stop." Lu Chen quickly interrupted her and said, "I've thought about it carefully. First of all, I will adjust Fei's work arrangements. Anyway, I will definitely retire from the entertainment industry this year. Cancel all the work and activities that can be cancelled first." After a pause, he continued, "I want to wait until my first concert on Valentine's Day, and then take Fei to my hometown to register. After the national concert tour, I will officially announce this matter. We will get married on Love Island at the end of March. As for the wedding preparations, I'll have to trouble you." Lu Shi was silent for a moment, probably digesting the impact of this matter, and then said, "Get married on Love Island at the end of March. It's not good to go so far, is it?" Lu Chen said, "It's Fei's wish to get married on Love Island. She has now checked that it will be about 4 weeks, so March is not too late. In addition, I am going to buy a private plane, so that it will be more convenient to travel." When he bought the island in the Maldives, Lu Chen had thought of buying a private plane, so that it would be very convenient for him to take a vacation on Love Island. Now he was just moving the plan forward. Lu Shi sighed and said, "You are really a local tycoon now. Forget it, let's do it according to your plan." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Finally, congratulations on becoming an aunt." Lu Shi was speechless. Chapter 888. After finalizing the plan related to Qin Fei with his sister, Lu Chen was relieved and sat down in the study. Turning on the computer, he first logged on to the Waves blog. As a result, he found that many people in the circle who followed each other had at him, all celebrating the release of his new album and wishing him a big sale in advance. This morning, Lu Chen's third album, Lu Chen, was officially launched nationwide. At 9 o'clock, the digital album was released on QQ Music for all fans to buy and download. Listen to it first. It was already past 10 o'clock. After replying to several friends on his blog, Lu Chen clicked on the main website of QQ Music to check the sales of the digital album. 225370. According to the data of QQ Music, in just over an hour, the new album, Lu Chen, has been purchased and downloaded by more than 200,000 people. The world's record industry has long declined. The previous tapes and CDs have basically withdrawn from the stage. Although CD records still have a market among specific groups of people, there is no way to compare with the past. After entering the new century, digital music is the real mainstream. This time, Lu Chen's release of his new album adopted the mode of online and offline simultaneous release. Online is the digital album, and offline is a different version of the CD set. Relying on a huge fan base, the relatively expensive offline presale has achieved excellent results, and it is completely reasonable for the online release to sell well. After all, the price of a set of genuine digital albums is only 10 yuan, which is equivalent to 1 yuan for one song. Any fan can afford it. But selling more than 200,000 sets in an hour really broke the record, reaching the point where other singers can only look up to it. Excluding the cost of the channel, the cost of digital version production and distribution can be said to be negligible. 200,000 is 2 million in sales, and the profit is very amazing. And this is just the beginning. According to this hot sales trend, it may not be a dream to exceed 1 million on the first day. However, Lu Chen was not ecstatic because of this. In the face of the surprise of Chen Fei's pregnancy and him becoming a father, whether it is 200,000 or 1 million in sales on the first day, it is nothing. In contrast, he is more concerned about the market reputation of this new album. The new album, Lu Chen, contains 5 old songs and 5 new works. The 5 old songs are actually not old. They are all works that were just taken out last year, and the new works are really new. In terms of the style of the album, Lu Chen presents a variety of characteristics. The works in it cover folk songs, love songs, and China style, and the latter is precisely his main promotion. From Jiangnan to The Ocean's Roar, and then to Blue and White Porcelain, Lu Chen's positioning for his third album is to connect the past and open up the future and create a new style, but whether he can win the recognition and love of his fans depends on the market response in these days. What are you looking at? While Lu Chen was browsing the web, Chen Fei, who had just finished grooming, also came to the study. Lu Chen stretched out his hands and let Chen Fei sit on him. Hugging his lover and smelling the fragrance on her body, Lu Chen said with a smile, "I'm looking at the album sales." Yes. Chen Fei twisted her body to make herself more comfortable and asked, "How is it?" "Not bad, more than 200,000 sets have been sold," Lu Chen said lightly. Chen Fei's eyes widened. "That's 1 million on the first day." "Oh, I also want to release a new album." "What new album?" Lu Chen said seriously. "Your job now is to raise a fetus and give birth to a child." Chen Fei smiled. "Then I won't work anymore. You have to support me." Lu Chen couldn't ask for more. "I'll support you for a lifetime." The two of them cuddled for a while in the study, and then went out for lunch together. As soon as they went downstairs, his sister called. She said that she would accompany Chen Fei to talk about something at noon. Her pregnancy was really a big deal. After lunch, Lu Chen rushed to Xinhua bookstore in Wangfujing to attend the signing ceremony of his new album. According to the plan, in the next week, he would fly to many big cities in China for album signing activities, and at the same time, build momentum for his first national concert tour. This was a prearranged arrangement that could not be changed because of Chen Fei's pregnancy. But after the concert, Lu Chen decided to greatly reduce his work and spend more time with his lover. The signing began at 2 o'clock. Lu Chen arrived at the bookstore of Xinhua bookstore at 1:20. As a result, he found that there was already a sea of people there. From the first floor to the third floor, it was packed with people. Although the bookstore had arranged a lot of staff to maintain order, the scene was obviously beyond their expectations. A staff member shouted desperately with an electric loudspeaker, asking everyone to line up and maintain order. Lu Chen. Lu Chen. Most of these enthusiastic fans were young people, and most of them were girls. They held the new album that had just been released and shouted Lu Chen's name loudly. Seeing this scene, Lu Chen, who was used to seeing big scenes, was also shocked. He came up from the internal elevator of the bookstore, so he immediately discussed with the staff to start the signing in advance to avoid a chaotic scene. When Lu Chen appeared in front of the fans, the whole floor was boiling. "Thank you, everyone." Lu Chen took the electric loudspeaker and said to the excited fans, "I'll start signing now. I only have a small request. I hope everyone will be patient and don't crowd. As long as you come today, I promise that everyone will have a copy. Even if I have to sign in the evening, I will finish signing." The signing place was on the 3rd floor, and the line of fans went down from the 3rd floor to the door of the 1st floor. If they wanted to sign all the copies, the workload could be imagined. But Lu Chen didn't want to disappoint the fans who had worked hard to support him, so he immediately began to work. One fan after another came up, smiling, communicating, signing, and taking photos. It seemed simple, but when the number accumulated to hundreds of thousands, it was definitely very hard work. From about 1:20 in the afternoon until about 5 o'clock, Lu Chen basically didn't rest except for drinking water a few times. His face was stiff from smiling, his voice began to become hoarse, and his signing hand was swollen. If it weren't for his good stamina and strong enough body, he wouldn't have been able to support it. In the end, it was the fans who felt distressed. Although the fans at the back of the line had waited for several hours, seeing that Lu Chen was so tired, they all said that they didn't want to sign. They were satisfied to take a photo with him. This made Lu Chen feel warm in his heart. After returning home in the evening, he updated his blog. The content was very simple, a photo of the signing scene and a sentence. "I have the best fans in the world." Chapter 889. On January 1, 2019, Lu Chen's 3rd solo album, Lu Chen, was officially released on the market, and the sales on QQ Music reached 1076549 copies on that day, setting an unprecedented record. In addition, Xinhua bookstores all over the country sold more than 100,000 genuine CDs. This part of the sales was new and not included in the album package previously booked, which was also a very remarkable achievement. First of all, Lu Chen has a huge popularity in China. His Immerse blog has close to 120 million followers, and no one can match the number of fans. He can be called the most dazzling star in the entertainment industry. That's right. In fact, it was nearly 2 years before the last album, Lu Chen album. The demand of fans has already accumulated to a very deep level, so it was normal for it to explode all of a sudden. Finally, it was the quality of the album. Without any surprise, all the works in this new album named after Lu Chen himself were original works by Lu Chen, and even most of the arrangements were done by him himself, which was very rare in the domestic pop music world. And Lu Chen's musical works are recognized as being of high quality both inside and outside the circle. Every song he takes out is at least at the level of fine works, and there is no lack of classics, and his reputation is unparalleled. Therefore, his fans believe that the new album will never disappoint them, and everyone is very willing to spend the money of a pack of cigarettes or a box of lunch to buy a genuine album. After some fans bought the CD record, they deliberately bought the CD player that they did not have before, because the sound quality of the CD was better than the digital version. And the fact did not disappoint the fans. The production level of this Lu Chen album was impeccable, and the first work was commendable. Listening to the 10 songs from beginning to end, they were surprised and moved every minute. Many people in the industry also paid attention to this new album. They also bought the digital version as soon as possible and couldn't wait to listen and analyze it. Some music critics were keenly aware of the changing trend of Lu Chen's music style, so fresh and hot articles were published on blogs. Among them, the most frequently quoted phrase was, "China style." China style was not a particularly new name. Some people in the pop music world had proposed it a long time ago. It mainly used the characteristics of traditional and ethnic music to create popular works, but most of them were nondescript and did not have much influence. Lu Chen had brought the China style into the world of his fans. His first song, South of the Yangtze River, had won numerous acclaim, and the theme song of The Ocean's Roar was sublimated. Now, his new songs, Blue and White Porcelain, East Wind Breaks, and Fireworks Fade Easily, had undoubtedly left a distinct mark on this album. Some music critics excitedly said on their blogs that the era of China style in pop music had arrived. As a result, the words China style quickly became a hot topic on the homepage of blogs and was discussed by countless people. As the initiator, Lu Chen was not in a very good mood. That afternoon, he participated in a promotional signing event for his new album at Xinhua Bookstore in Wangfujing. He signed for more than 4 hours and signed thousands of copies. When it was over, his right hand was completely numb, and he couldn't even hold the chopsticks when he was eating dinner. Lu Shi and Chen Feier were frightened. They hurriedly took Lu Chen to the hospital. Considering that it was more appropriate to see a Chinese medicine practitioner in such a situation, they specially used their connections to find a well-known Chinese medicine practitioner to treat him. Lu Chen felt that the two women were making a fuss. His problem was actually muscle swelling, which should be solved by a cold compress and a hot compress. However, he could not resist their concern, so he had to accept the arrangement. After seeing it, the doctor said that it was not a big problem, so he prescribed medicine and performed acupuncture. As a result, Chen Feier took a photo of his acupuncture treatment and posted it on his blog, with the words, distressed, and a silently crying emoji. This time, the fans suddenly exploded. What happened? What's wrong with Chen? Oh, his hand is swollen. Distressed Chen. He signed too many autographs in the afternoon, right? No wonder Feier feels distressed. In the afternoon, Lu Chen signed a book in Wangfujing. There were too many people, so I couldn't squeeze in. I'm lucky. I feel like crying just looking at it. Please tell Lu Chen not to work so hard. Can you still attend the signing event in Hygiene tomorrow? I feel so conflicted. Me too. Chen Feier and Lu Chen's fans were very similar. Most of the fans felt distressed when they saw the photo, and they told Lu Chen to take care of his health. Lu Chen had always been very healthy, and he was good at fighting. The reason why he had to go to the hospital was that he had signed too many autographs for too long. After returning home, Lu Chen updated his blog. First of all, he thanked his fans for their support. His hand was much better after the treatment, and the signing event in Hygiene tomorrow would not be cancelled. You don't have to work so hard. Chen Feier rubbed the ointment on Lu Chen's hand and said coquettishly, tell them to control the number of people at Hygiene tomorrow. They can't sign their hands off like they did at Wangfujing today. She knew that Lu Chen was working so hard not only to promote the sales of his album. To be honest, for the two of them, money was just a number. They had earned enough money that they could never spend it all in a few lifetimes. The most important thing was his fans. Lu Chen was used to not letting his fans down, but he had too many fans. It's not a big problem. Lu Chen clenched his fists and smiled. I wasn't used to signing so many autographs before. You'll get used to it after a few more times. It's a habit that can be cultivated. Chen Feier squeezed his hand a few times. Look at you. After saying that, Lu Chen rushed to Hygiene the next morning for the second signing. What moved him was that although the enthusiasm of the fans in Hygiene was no less than that of the fans in Beijing, everyone lined up in an orderly manner at the signing event at Xinhua Bookstore in Hygiene. Almost everyone was holding the album but did not ask for his autograph. These fans obviously knew what happened last night. They didn't want to increase Lu Chen's burden. They just wanted to meet Lu Chen, say a few words, and take a photo with Lu Chen. Because of that, Lu Chen sang 2 songs from the album at the signing event. The signing event was filmed by many fans and uploaded to the internet, causing a heated discussion among netizens. Just as Lu Chen said, he had the best fans in the world. Next, in Huhai, Hangzhou, Shanghai, Shancheng, Shacheng, Lu Chen swept across half of China like a whirlwind, bringing his new album to a whole new level. Chapter 890. I'm back. Kai pushed open the door excitedly and shouted at his roommates who were sitting in the living room. One of his roommates, Min Wenlin, was playing a game. He said without turning his head, "Why are you back so late? Have you eaten dinner? There are leftovers in the kitchen. You can heat them up." Another roommate smiled. "Hurry up, we're waiting for you to do a dungeon together." "What dungeon?" Kai grinned. "I don't want to play Spells Word anymore. I'm going to change games." "What?" The three roommates were shocked. They all turned around to look at Kai. Min Wenlin even stood up to touch Kai's forehead. "You don't have a fever, do you?" Spells Word was an online game released by the famous game company Tempest last year. It was a fantasy RPG game. It won the love of many gamers due to its high quality. Kai was a fan of Spells Word. He started playing the game right after the server was released. He was considered a veteran player of Spells Word. His main account was level 72 and he belonged to the top army in the entire server. Most importantly, all three of his roommates had been playing Demon Sword under Kai's guidance. Now that Kai suddenly said that he wanted to play something else instead of Demon Sword, how could they not be surprised? "Go go go." Kai dodged Min Wenlin's hand and said in disdain, "You're the one who's horny." He sat down on his computer chair and took out 4 game cards from the bag he just brought back. He smiled. "Let's play the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer." Kai was a technician at an internet company in Shan City. He had been working in Shan City for 3 years after graduating from university. To save on living expenses, he rented this apartment with a few of his colleagues in the company. They were around the same age and had a good relationship. What was rare was that they all liked to play games. They often played online games together, killing monsters and doing dungeons together. It was a rare leisure activity in life. Due to his high gaming skills, Kai naturally became the leader of the 4. The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. Min Wenlin picked up one of the game cards on the computer table and asked hesitantly, "Is it fun?" He knew about the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. It was quite popular a while ago, but there were many new games released. Moreover, he was playing Demon Sword, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Kai picked up his teacup and took a big gulp of tea. He said, "Our guild's vice president recommended it to me. He tried it out on the first day of the server's launch, and it was pretty good. The most important thing is that the fees are out now. It's very generous." One of his roommates was surprised. "It's for a fee." Demon Sword was a free online game. Kai sneered and said, "It's good that there's a fee. Everything that's free is King a scam. Take Demon Sword for example. Our level is already considered very high, right? Didn't you get hacked to death by a little RMB warrior yesterday?" The 3 roommates nodded in agreement. Like Kai, they were all from ordinary families. Although the cost of living in Mountain City was not particularly high, the expenses of clothing, food, and housing were not low, so they tried their best to save as much as possible. Back when they played Demon Sword with Kai, they also liked the game because it was free. However, when they first fell into the trap, the game was still fine. Now, the developers were racking their brains to make money and introduced all kinds of items that required fees. The most typical one was to smash weapons. A level 50 gold weapon to 9 stars would cost at least 5,000 yuan. If a few soul gems were embedded, it would be normal for it to cost tens of thousands. How could they afford that? However, if they didn't smash equipment, they wouldn't be able to PK with just their level. Those that did would be like last night, when Kai led everyone to kill a boss, they met a little warrior who was stealing the boss. They thought that they could easily defeat him with 4 against 1, but they were completely destroyed. The reason was simple. Although the opponent's level was low, he had a full set of 9-star gold soul equipment. He killed Min Wenlin, the thin-skinned mage, with 1 slash, and Kai, the main tank, couldn't even heal himself with potions. In the end, 2 of them died and the other 2 were sent flying. It was a great humiliation. But what could they do? It was their fault for not spending money. Sure, Kai said, anyway, I don't want to play these free games anymore. This Smiling, the proud wanderer doesn't have any items that require fees. It's just selling some cards. 50 cents per hour or 50 yuan per month, 50 cents per hour or 50 yuan per month? It really wasn't expensive. The most important thing was that there were no items that required fees. This meant that it was fair to all players. There wouldn't be a situation where the four of them could only PK one low-level opponent. Sure, Kai patted the game cards on the table and said, I bought 4 monthly cards. The new server will open at 8 tonight. Let's play the new server together. Min Wenlin asked, then what about our demon sword accounts? Sure, Kai waved his hand, sell them all online, sell as many as you can. Oh right, he thought of something and said excitedly, the Smiling, the proud wanderer has an auction system. If we get good equipment, we can sell it in the auction house for silver or RMB. That works? The 3 roommates exclaimed. Normally, equipment trading in games was very troublesome. It was easy to get scammed when trading on your own. Using a third party to trade would have to deduct the transaction fees and it would take a long time to get back the money. The Smiling, the proud wanderer actually supported cash auctions. That was really great for gamers like them. If they were lucky enough to get a top-tier equipment, they could sell it for hundreds or thousands. Wouldn't that be great? One of the roommates shouted, stop talking, hurry up and download the app. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone quickly closed Demon Sword and downloaded the app according to the website on the game card. Then, they put their Demon Sword accounts up for sale on a third-party platform. Their equipment was all obtained by themselves, so it wasn't worth much. However, their account levels were not bad, so they could sell for at least 300 or 400 yuan. Even a mosquito was meat. In the end, Min Wenlin realized that a large number of Demon Sword accounts were on sale these few days. Many of them were top-tier accounts that were made with RMB. Accounts that were made with tens of thousands of yuan were sold for 2,000 or 3,000 yuan. It was a huge discount. Although they couldn't be sure that this was because of the Smiling, the proud wanderer, it was obvious that Demon Sword's market was plummeting. The 4 of them would probably have to go through a discount before they could sell their accounts. However, they didn't care anymore. Since they were determined to play the new game, it wasn't a pity to lose Demon Sword. They might as well sell their accounts at half the price and wait for the download to finish. At 8 at night, before the new server opened, the 4 of them successfully registered their accounts and logged into the Smiling, the proud wanderer. Chapter 891. The Smiling, the proud wanderer was Happy Entertainment's flagship project in 2018. The company invested a lot of manpower and resources into this wuxia MMORPG, and even hired external help. It was finally released on New Year's Day 2019. On the 1st, there were 10 servers in total. In just half an hour, all 10 servers were full, and there were still a lot of players waiting in line. Although Happy Entertainment was prepared, they didn't expect it to be this popular. They added another 5 servers on the spot, but it still wasn't enough to satisfy the players' enthusiasm. On the 7th, the number of servers for the Smiling, the proud wanderer increased to 50, with more than 1 million daily active players. For a company that had only been established for 2 years, and it was their first big MMORPG, Happy Entertainment's success was dazzling. The key was that the game was well received in the market. In the week since the public beta, all sorts of reviews filled the forums and QQ groups, and the game's fan club was formed. On the 10th of January, Happy Entertainment officially released a top-up card. There were 2 ways to purchase it, online and offline. The number of top-up cards sold exceeded 30 million on that day, with more than 90% of the players buying the monthly card. On the 11th, the number increased to 100 million. If one player bought a monthly card, that would mean 2 million paying customers, and this was only the beginning. Such outstanding results indicated that the Smiling, the proud wanderer's success was unstoppable. As long as the company didn't do anything stupid, it wouldn't be a problem for it to be popular for 2 to 3 years. The success of the smiling, proud wanderer also caused a great impact in the two circles. The first was obviously the online gaming circle. As a rising black horse, Happy Entertainment received a lot of attention due to the success of casual games like Happy Farm and Angry Birds. However, not many people had high hopes for the smiling, the Proud Wanderer's IP MMORPG. This was because this market had already turned into a sea of blood. Large domestic and international video game companies were fighting fiercely for it, from computers to phones. It could be said that there was smoke everywhere. As a new company, Happy Entertainment had no problem playing casual games, but the production and operation of large-scale MMORPG was a different story. There were many ambitious new companies that entered this market, but they ended up with their heads broken and ended up in a miserable state. In the eyes of the big companies, Happy Entertainment wasn't qualified enough. They didn't have any background to speak of. They might be able to make some money from their IP, but it would only be a flash in the pan. The other thing was the theme. Currently, the mainstream online games on the market were mainly shooting games, real-time strategy games, and fantasy RPG games, which included most of the players. However, the smiling, the Proud Wanderer was an unprecedented martial arts game. It was not easy to make a mountain monster. Also, Happy Entertainment didn't put enough effort into advertising. The media rarely saw advertisements for the smiling, Proud Wanderer. They were relying on the company's founder, Lu Chen, to gain some popularity on his blog, making it seem rather low-key. How could people believe that the success of the smiling, the Proud Wanderer was inevitable? Before the smiling, the Proud Wanderer went into beta, there were many negative voices in the gaming circle. Many people doubted Happy Entertainment's ability, suspecting that it was another game that relied on IP to make money. However, the truth gave these doubting voices a powerful counterattack. The smiling, Proud Wanderer was a great success as soon as it was released. It not only attracted a large number of players, but also converted a large proportion of players into paying customers. This was a great achievement. Free games were popular on the market at the moment. They relied on selling items such as gold, gems, skins, and cards to make money. The smiling, the Proud Wanderer's use of point-based payment was a step backwards. This was because online games in the past sold point-based payment cards. Later on, free games became popular, especially in the mobile game era. The most successful games could make billions in a month by selling items. The smiling, the Proud Wanderer didn't take this path that was already proven to be profitable, but still wanted to make a lot of money. It was hard for people to understand why. As for the other circle, it was the entertainment circle. In the past, there were precedents of movies, TV shows, and novels being adapted into games. Especially popular online novels, it was common for them to be adapted into movies and TV shows before being released into games. However, these types of IP that were suitable for game adaptation were rarely successful when they were made into games. The smiling, the Proud Wanderer's series of successes were extremely dazzling. Some people estimated that according to the current trend, the smiling, the Proud Wanderer could bring at least $5 billion in revenue to Happy Entertainment. With the success of the game, Happy Entertainment was qualified to be listed. And Lu Chen owns 70% of Happy Entertainment's shares. This made people jealous. The scary thing was that the smiling, the Proud Wanderer's series of IP adaptations had only just begun. Chen Fei Media also owned the rights to The Legend of the Condor Heroes. The Legend of the Condor Heroes was another wuxia novel after the smiling, the Proud Wanderer. Currently, the sales of the novel had surpassed the former. The value of the IP was immeasurable. In addition, Chen Fei Media also announced that they owned the rights to the other three wuxia novels, The Return of the Condor Heroes, Demigods and Semi-Devils, and The Deer and the Cauldron. At this point, Lu Chen's wuxia IP plan has been presented in front of everyone. He holds a large number of shares in Chen Fei Media, Star Factory Media, and Happy Entertainment. His ambition to build his own entertainment dynasty with the help of a series of wuxia IP can be said to be clear. Even if this empire was just starting to take shape, Lu Chen was already at the top of the entertainment circle, above all other celebrities. He was young and had unparalleled talent. His rise was unstoppable. Looking back at Lu Chen's journey to stardom, it had only been 4 years since his debut. How could people not be emotional? In comparison, the explosive sales of Lu Chen's third album, Lu Chen, was not as eye-catching. This was because no matter how many albums Lu Chen sold, it only proved that he was a successful singer. His career was no longer limited to pop music, but expanded to a wider world. Now, when people in the industry talked about Lu Chen, other than envy, they could only say that he didn't get enough awards and didn't have any titles like King of Singers or Best Actor. However, in China, these small honors were just icing on the cake for top stars. Everyone believed that Lu Chen would get a great harvest in this year's Music and Film Awards, because no one could ignore his success and miracles. Chapter 892. On January 15, Lu Chen ended the national promotion tour of his new album and returned to Beijing. In less than half a month, he traveled to 7 big cities in China and stayed in Hong Kong for 2 days. Finally, he flew back to Beijing from Taiwan, covering a total distance of thousands of kilometers. And in every city, Lu Chen has received a fanatical welcome from local fans, so that the number of people entering the Xinhua bookstore in the following cities has been limited and screened through computer numbering. Otherwise, the pressure of reception would be too great. Although it was very hard, the results were also very remarkable. Since the release of Lu Chen's new album on the 1st, the total sales had reached 6.5 million copies by the evening of the 14th. Although most of them were digital albums, such a result had broken the first week and second week sales records of the first 2 albums, and it was only a matter of time before it broke the total sales record. Not only in China, such a high sales volume was definitely among the best in the world, enough to be compared with several top singers in Britain and the United States. Therefore, there were many jealous comments in the circle that the album sales record set by Lu Chen could only be broken by himself, and there was no exception. In direct proportion to the sales of the album was the reputation of the fans. Lu Chen defended his unshakable position in the pop music world with his third album, and also erected a solid monument for the title of the most outstanding composer. Driven by this album, the originally somewhat quiet pop music world became active again. Many singers and record media companies were seeking China-style works, hoping to take advantage of this wave of popularity. But for Lu Chen, no matter how high the sales of the new album and how warm the market response was, it was insignificant. The most important thing was to return home to accompany Chen Feier. Opening the door with the key, Lu Chen put the suitcase against the wall and immediately smelled the aroma of food. Huh! Lu Chen couldn't help but be a little surprised, because there were very few meals at home. Occasionally, he would cook at home. With a trace of doubt, he put on his shoes and walked towards the kitchen. There were a few steaming plates of home-cooked dishes on the dining table outside. The dishes were very simple, mainly scrambled eggs, braised pork, vegetables, and a plate of fried peanuts. In the kitchen, a graceful beauty wearing an apron was making soup. She carefully picked up the lid of the casserole and scooped some soup with a spoon. Then, she added some salt and covered the casserole again. Suddenly, a pair of hands reached out from behind her and hugged her waist. Ah! Chen Feier was so shocked that he almost dropped the spoon in his hand. Lu Chen held her in his arms and rested his chin on her shoulder. He greedily inhaled his lover's scent and asked with a smile, "Why do you want to cook yourself?" "You scared me to death." Chen Feier, who had come back to his senses, knocked him on the head with a spoon and said angrily, "What kind of surprise attack is this? It doesn't matter if you scare me, but what if you scare the baby? The baby hasn't even taken shape yet, right?" Lu Chen smiled bitterly. "Honey, I know I was wrong." Chen Feier snorted. "You heartless woman. I knew you were coming back today, so I specially cooked for you. I didn't expect you." Lu Chen hugged her tightly. "I was really wrong." Then, he leaned over and kissed Chen Feier's cheek to express his apology. Chen Feier giggled because of his stubble. She twisted her head to avoid it, but Lu Chen kissed her on the mouth. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. The two hugged and kissed in the kitchen, lingering tenderly. But considering the baby in Chen Feier's belly, the two controlled themselves well, although they were burning with passion. Chen Feier was in the early stage of pregnancy, when the placenta was forming and in an unstable state. The secretion of progesterone to prevent miscarriage was not sufficient, so miscarriage or threatened miscarriage was the most likely. It was their first baby, so they had to be careful. Have a taste of my cooking. Chen Feier asked Lu Chen to sit down at the dining table. She scooped a bowl of soup and a bowl of rice for him and looked at him expectantly. Lu Chen didn't stand on ceremony. He picked up a scrambled egg with his chopsticks and drank 2 mouthfuls of soup. After swallowing it in 2 or 3 mouthfuls, he praised, "It's really good. It's so delicious." Chen Feier rolled her eyes at Lu Chen and said, "You only know how to make me happy. I just started learning how to cook. How is it good? Your acting skills are not good either." "It's very good for a beginner." Lu Chen smiled and asked, "Why do you want to cook by yourself? Didn't you say you would find a nanny to take care of you? Didn't my sister find one for you?" Before he left the capital, he had discussed with Lu Shi to find an experienced nanny to take care of Chen Feier. Chen Feier said, "Sister Lu Shi told me, but I don't need anyone to take care of me for the time being. Let's talk about it later. It's boring to stay at home, so I learned to cook by myself." She picked up some vegetables for Lu Chen with her chopsticks and said, "Hurry up and eat." "I've already eaten." Although Chen Feier's cooking skills were not very good as a beginner, the scrambled eggs were a little burnt, the vegetables were overcooked, and the ginseng chicken soup was not tasty enough. Lu Chen still ate with relish and ate 3 bowls of rice in a row. After dinner, Lu Chen naturally took on the task of cleaning up the dishes. At this moment, it was already dark. Through the glass window of the kitchen, they could see the lights of thousands of families outside. Although his body was still very tired, Lu Chen's spirit was completely relaxed. No matter how hard it was outside, home was always a warm harbor. Especially for stars like him and Chen Fei, such a plain but warm daily life at home was extraordinarily rare. Tian, after putting all the dishes into the dishwasher and wiping the table, Lu Chen washed his hands and returned to the living room. Chen Fei was sitting on the sofa watching TV. The large laser projection screen was playing the scene of Lu Chen signing in the north city of Bao Island yesterday. "A lonely lamp stands at the window, I pretend that you haven't left yet behind the door, the old place is like revisiting, the round moon is more lonely, the candle awake in the middle of the night can't bear to criticize me. A pot of wine drifting to the ends of the world is difficult to drink, after you left, the wine warms the memories, the yearning thinned." On the screen, Lu Chen was singing "East Wind Break" from the album. This work with a strong China style was widely praised. Together with "Blue and White Porcelain," it was regarded as a representative work of China style. Currently, it was a complete mess. Lu Chen sang 3 songs at the signing in the north city of Bao Island. "East Wind Break" was the finale. He walked over to the sofa and sat down, gently pulling Chen Feier into his arms. The two were silent, but it was incomparably warm and sweet. And the song continued. "Who is playing East Wind Break with the pipa, time peeling off the wall, I see when I was young, still remember that we were still very young, and now the faint sound of the zither, I'm waiting for you." Note, East Wind Break, lyricist, Fang Wenshan / composer, Zhou Jieluan. Chapter 893. Beijing New Era Art Park, Chinfei Media Headquarters. "Good morning, President Lu." "Good morning, President Chen." "Good morning, boss." "Good morning, madam." When Lu Chen and Chen Fei appeared together in the company, the employees' reaction was extremely enthusiastic, especially those who had just joined the company, their eyes were shining. After nearly 2 years of development, Chen Fei Media had become a well-known company in the industry. Although it had not yet achieved the scale of a crocodile, the speed of its rise was so fast that it had left all of its competitors far behind, and its revenue had reached new highs. In contrast, due to the rapid development of various businesses, the number of employees continues to increase. At present, the office building is overwhelmed. The company is negotiating with the park management committee to rent a 7-story building nearby to meet the needs of the company's expansion. In the future, Chinfei Media will be divided into many subsidiaries such as music, film and television, digital special effects, performing arts training, etc. In the company's VIP reception room, Lu Qin met several guests who came to visit Chinfei Media headquarters today. They were all from Beijing Television, including Qin Qi, who had a good relationship with Lu Qin. Qin Qi met Lu Qin when he first made his debut. The former also gave a lot of help to Lu Qin. After Lu Qin became famous, he had a good relationship with the director of Beijing Television, which also depended on this deputy director. But now Qin Qi has been promoted. He replaced the original director at the end of last year and became the new director of Beijing Television. Today is also the first time he came to Chinfei Media as the new director. From deputy director to director, although it is only a step up, in fact, the status of the two is very different. With Qin Qi's current level, it is condescending to come to the headquarters of Chinfei Media to see Lu Qin. But Qin Qi did not put on the airs of a director. In front of Lu Qin, Chinfei, and Lu Shi, he still smiled kindly. When he saw Lu Qin, he joked, "Superstar, you are finally back. I have been waiting for you in Beijing." Qin Qi made an appointment with Lu Qin as early as half a month ago, but Lu Qin just started the national signing of his new album, so the meeting time was set for today. Lu Qin sweated, "Director Qin, you put a lot of pressure on me." Qin Qi laughed, "You are under a lot of pressure, but I am under even more pressure. Tell me the truth, is Star Factory planning to cooperate with Shonan TV on a new program?" Lu Qin said helplessly, "Director Qin, although I have shares in Star Factory, I don't manage it." He didn't expect Qin Qi to come over to talk to him about this. Obviously, the cooperation negotiations between Star Factory and Xiangnan Satellite TV were leaked and known by this side. When Lu Qin went to Hangzhou to participate in Zhidong Satellite TV's New Year's Eve concert more than half a month ago, Tian looked for him to discuss the new variety show project. At that time, they also talked about Shonan TV. Lu Qin threw a new program plan to her, and then he didn't manage it anymore. Because Tian, who was in charge of Star Factory, had long been able to take charge of things on her own, and he didn't need to work hard. The most important thing was that, although Tian had a large number of shares in Star Factory Media, neither Lu Qin nor Qin Fei interfered with the company's operation, and allowed Tian to play her talents. Therefore, whether Tian cooperated with Zhidong Satellite TV or Shonan TV, Lu Qin would give his support. But now that Qin Qi personally came to ask, he was a little embarrassed and could only explain tactfully. Qin Qi was dissatisfied, "You are getting more and more unkind. Last time, you couldn't come to the New Year's Eve concert, and now you are going to cooperate with Shonan TV. Don't say that you don't care, you must have come up with the plan for the new project, right?" Lu Qin was speechless. In fact, the program plan that Lu Qin threw to Tian was still in a strictly confidential stage. It would only be officially released after the creative copyright registration was completed, and it would only be limited to a small part of the content. But in the cooperation negotiation with Shonan TV, she didn't need to come up with a specific plan. They recognized the famous brand of Lu Qin, and their sincerity for cooperation was very sufficient. Beijing Television had only heard the rumors, and of course, it was impossible to know more. But Qin Qi knew Lu Qin too well, and he was very clear about the inside story behind the Star Factory's glory, so he instinctively made an accurate judgment. Lu Qin's Midas touch name was known to everyone in the circle. As the director of Beijing Television, how could Qin Qi tolerate a variety show that might be a hit in the ratings to be poached away by Shonan TV? It should be known that for Beijing Television, Shonan TV was its biggest competitor. Qin Qi continued to say, "Am I right? I know that little girl doesn't have that kind of ability. She still listens to you, so why not talk to our Beijing Television?" The director of a satellite TV station was acting like a rogue. Lu Qin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said with a wry smile, "Director Qin, I really don't care about the Star Factory. If you want to cooperate, you can talk to Tian directly. I think she will definitely give you face. Do you think I didn't look for her? Chen Qi said bitterly, that girl is so clever. She used my side to bargain with Shonan TV. Unless the negotiation broke down, it would not have been my turn. Chen Fei, couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. You're still laughing, Chen Qi said bitterly, don't forget how Shonan TV treated your husband. Chen Fei, pursed his lips and smiled, Director Chen, I won't talk. I'll just watch. Chen Qi pointed to the big star of his family speechlessly, with an expression of exasperation. Lu Shi couldn't stand it anymore and said, Director Chen, it's useless for you to argue with Lu Chen. He really doesn't care about the Star Factory, but we still have a lot of cooperation with Beijing Television. Chen Qi was actually waiting for this sentence. He immediately smiled and said, well, Lu Chen's first concert at the Olympic Sports Center must be recorded on TV. In addition, if the Star Factory and Shonan TV break down, they must give priority to us. In the future, they must also give priority to us to discuss new projects, he said several things in one breath. Obviously, he had already prepared for it. He was just advancing in order to retreat. Lu Chen's first solo concert would be held at the Beijing Olympic Sports Center on February 14th. As the first stop of his national concert tour, this concert attracted countless attention and could be called a major event in the domestic pop music world this year. In order to ensure the income from tickets, solo concerts were usually not broadcast live on TV, or even recorded. At most, online versions were sold. Under normal circumstances, TV stations would not record a star's concert. At most, they would do a news interview. However, Lu Chen's influence was too great, so Beijing Television hoped to record this concert. In addition to being used for program broadcasting, it would also be used as an important material for Lu Chen's personal documentary. Chen Qi had to swallow this delicious piece of cake. Chapter 894. Beijing, Hohai. At 2:00 in the afternoon, the Forget Grass Bar, which was located on the pedestrian street, had just hung up the open sign when a guest wearing a windbreaker and sunglasses pushed open the door and walked in. There were many bars in Hohai, and their main business hours were from evening to midnight. Some bars opened earlier, opening at 2 or 3:00 in the afternoon, but there weren't many guests in those bars. Most of the waiters hadn't come to work yet, and the performance stage was empty. There was only a set of drums placed in the corner, and a few lights were turned on inside, but the light wasn't very bright. When the first guest of the day came in, Chen Jinhao was wiping the bar with a rag. In the past, he never did this kind of thing, because it was a waiter's job, but since he got married and had a child, he suddenly liked the work of washing and wiping. When the bar opened for business, he wiped the counter clean, which gave him a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. Most importantly, Chen Jinhao's wife was in the bar, accompanying him to tidy up the wine cabinet. There was a silent tacit understanding between them, which was the warmth and sweetness that belonged to the two of them. The guest in the windbreaker sat down in front of the bar and said, "Lady boss, give me a glass of beer." The lady boss had just stuffed a bottle of champagne back into the cabinet. She didn't raise her head and said, "You're really early. This is the first guest of the day, this glass is on me." The guest smiled and said, "Oh, how can I accept this?" The lady boss suddenly felt that something was wrong. She suddenly raised her head and saw the guest take off his sunglasses, revealing a very familiar face. "Ah!" She suddenly let out a scream and rushed out of the bar with lightning speed. She opened her arms and gave the other party a strong hug. Xiao Lu. Chen Jinhao, who was wiping the table at the bar, was shocked by his wife's scream, but when he saw the face of the guest, he couldn't help but smile. Lu Chen smiled and patted Sister Na's back and said, "My godson's mother, you've lost weight." The son of Chen Jinhao and Sister Na recognized Lu Chen as his godfather. However, this godfather was usually too busy. He only saw his son a few times and gave him a lot of gifts. Sister Na laughed and let go of Lu Chen. She punched him on the shoulder and asked, "How come you have time to come over today?" Could it be that you miss my son? Did you bring any gifts? Lu Qin sweated. I'll make it up next time. Speaking of which, he hadn't been to Forget Grass Bar for a long time, mainly because he was too busy with work, but this didn't affect his friendship with Qin Jianhao and Sister Na. Some friends, even if they hadn't seen each other for years, would still remain the same. Although Lu Qin was now standing at the peak of his life, he had never felt that he was high above others. Don't forget your original intention. This bar carried a lot of Lu Chen's memories, and it was also where his original intention was. Qin Jianhao poured a glass of beer for Lu Qin. Lu Qin wasn't polite. He picked up the glass and took a big gulp. Then he took out 2 concert tickets from his windbreaker pocket and put them on the bar counter. I have a concert next month. You guys must come. I knew it. Qin Jianhao picked up the tickets and glanced at them. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I didn't expect it to be so late. Yes, yes. Sister Na grabbed the tickets as if she had found a treasure. Love for a lifetime. Not a bad name. Lu Qin was ashamed. In fact, based on his debut experience, after his first album, You Who Sat Next to Me, came out, he was qualified to hold a solo concert. As a result, it was dragged on for 3 years. In the circle, many singers don't have any big popular works, and they also make their solo concerts spectacular, losing money and earning money to get a beautiful record. In contrast, Lu Chen's first solo concert really came too late. It was no problem for him to sing several times a year, and it couldn't exhaust the enthusiasm of his fans. And tonight, the ticket booking for Lu Chen's solo concert, which will be held at the Beijing Olympic Sports Center on Valentine's Day on February 14th, will be opened at Qinfei Media and QQ Music. The tickets had been printed 2 days ago. In addition to the pre-sale portion, there was also a portion that was reserved for people to give away. This was because many people had asked for the tickets a long time ago, including Tan Hong, Lu Gangsheng, Shi Fang, and other good friends in the circle. Of course, Lu Qin didn't forget Qin Jianhao and his wife. He specially delivered the tickets to their door. Qin Jianhao and Sister Na looked at each other and smiled. They were very moved in their hearts. Although the two don't mix in the circle, they have seen a lot of things in the circle. People like Lu Qin, who are affectionate and righteous and from beginning to end, are really rare. Squeak! At this time, the door of the bar was pushed open again, and a young man came in with a guitar case. Boss, lady boss. He greeted politely, but not very skilled, and there was a trace of immaturity in his appearance and voice. Sister Na smiled and said, Xiao Gao, you're here. The young man nodded, and suddenly his eyes focused. He saw Lu Qin sitting in front of the bar. Although Lu Qin was sideways, the young man named Xiao Gao still recognized Lu Qin at a glance. Lu Qin is his idol. He came to work in Forget Grass Bar because Lu Qin made his debut in this bar. In fact, in today's bars in Hohai, Forget Grass Bar has become a sacred place for folk singers. Many singers have sung here, and it is not easy to become a resident singer of Forget Grass Bar. Qin Jianhao waved to him, come here, let me introduce you. Xiao Gao suddenly woke up, he trotted over without thinking, stood in front of Lu Qin, and was so excited that his face turned red. Lu. Teacher Lu, hello. Lu Qin smiled and said, hello. Qin Jianhao said, he's the new resident singer, Gao Yong. He plays the guitar well, but his singing skills are so-so. He's written a few songs, so he's got some talent. Can you give me some advice? Lu Qin said, okay. He knows that if Qin Jianhao didn't cherish talent, he wouldn't have recommended him, and he didn't need his help. A few words of advice may make this young singer's life completely different. Gao Yong suddenly felt like he was hit by a pie falling from the sky, and he was about to faint. It was Sister Na who reminded him to sing on stage. While Gao Yong was adjusting the guitar, Sister Na said to Lu Qin, he is a bit like you. Lu Qin smiled and didn't say anything. Even if Sister Na didn't say it, he could see some of his own shadow in Gao Yong. It's just that time has inadvertently gone far away. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.